welcome back everybody to Titan Series Season 2, Week 2. We are back with all the PUBG Mobile action that you know and love. Last week was absolutely incredible. We had a team dominate literally 3 of the 4 maps, and we did have at least one of our NA teams, try to get up into the mix. This week, they're looking to see if they could do a bit better. I'm Taylor Reflections Noble. I'll be your host for today, and whether you're new or old, we love having you here. Make sure you hit that sub button if you haven't already, because we keep the Titan series going week in and week out. So check this out. Hey, if you're new, thank you for being here. If you're older, well, like me, thank you for being here as well. If you don't know the format, or maybe you do and want a refresher, let's go ahead and talk about it. What's our format looking like for today's Titan series?
This is the Titan series, mobile gaming's ultimate esports showcase. Teams will battle for ultimate battleground supremacy and a prize pool that stands at $2,000. Each Titan Series season is 4 weeks long, and teams will play in 2 divisions, the Premier Division and the Challenger Division. Both Premier and Challenger teams will play in the Qualifier stage that spans the first 3 weeks of the season. From there, the top 12 teams from the Challenger Qualifiers will join the bottom 4 teams from the Premier Qualifiers to play in Week 4's Challenger Finals. In the Challenger Finals, anything can happen, as the top 4 finishers will join the Premier Qualifiers top 12 in the Premier Finals later on in Week 4. The prize pool will be divided amongst the top 3 teams in the Premier Finals, and the top 12 Premier Finals teams will be guaranteed a slot in next season's Premier Division. In the Titan series, the stakes are always high, as teams have the ability to climb up or plunge down the leaderboard. If you think your team has what it takes to compete at the highest level, prove it. Sign up to play by visiting titanseries.gg. You can also stay up to date with your favorite teams, look up detailed team and player statistics, and even grab custom Titan Series player cards to share with the community. This is the Titan Series, forged in fire.
Hey, like the video said, go to titanseries.gg if you want to compete in next Titan series and prove you are one of the best and you belong up here. Hey, I see you out there. You think you're good? Well, come and prove it. Like I said, titanseries.gg. We would love to have you on our next show. But hey, I'm Taylor Reflections Noble, like I said, your host, but I can't do the job alone. Let's bring in our desk. We've got the wonderful usual suspects. We got Powerbang, Mustache Dave, and Neptura. Powerbang, always good to see you, babe. Your hair's getting long, and today's show might be long. How you feeling? Your hair's looking great.
We got ourselves a beautiful haircut. Chat, you got to tell me, do I keep it for the Dragon Ball Z collab and just really get out there with it? Or do we lop it off? I don't know. Taylor, anyway, I'm doing good. A little bit of a segue there, but we're in it to win it tonight.
Yes, keep it. Dragon Ball Z, dude, one of the best shows out there. Mustache Dave. Hey, I'm sure your mustache, anyways, would be a great anime character mustache. I don't know where I'm going with that, brother, but it's great to see you. Truly, you're wonderful. We had you on the cast last week. You're back again. How you feeling?
Yeah, feeling pretty good, man. I'm looking forward to watching the games here tonight. I'm looking forward to tomorrow because you know what? This time tomorrow, I'm gonna be on a beach chilling in Miami. Ooh. So looking forward to tonight though. So the energy is high on my end.
You looking for a plus?
We
one,
watching
baby?
basketball, Dave?
I'll join you over there.
Hey, Heat are going to win the finals. We all know that. So, PB, we know that.
Got Heat winning the finals. We got Mustache Dave on the beach letting it all hang out. We got Neptura, right? One of our analysts on the desk. She's going to be, being analytical as she does. And I love your insight. It's great to have you.
Thanks so much, Taylor. Yeah, I'm super excited to be here. I was scratching those itchy nose right on.
That's okay.
On thanks production for that one, but yeah, looking really excited for this one. Honestly, I mean, we saw such a great response from Hyper coming into the first week of the season. Looking for these teams how they're gonna respond to that.
Seriously, in Hyper, someone needs to respond to them because those boys cannot slow down. Matter of fact, let's just talk about week 1 as a whole because it was a great introduction to season 2 of Titan Series. Powerbank, we did see in Hyper dominate 3 out of the 4 maps. Loops doing their Loops things, right? I mean, losing 1-2 teammates off the rip, but still making it consistently to end game. We know who did well, but who was a team that struggled a little bit that needs to perform well in week 2?
Well, I got to point out, I didn't really see any other teams aside from Hyper this last week. But, you know, let's focus on some of the teams that we didn't see a lot of. Bope Esports comes to mind. Black Mamba comes to mind. And specifically, Intense Game, who didn't show up for the last week. I really want to see them come out and dominate this week. Rumor has it they'll be suiting up tonight on the Battleground. So excited to see what this powerhouse brings to the table.
Fair enough. And Mustache Dave, again, Loop's doing well. A7 was also one of those great rosters out there. Big storyline, though, for week one was the introduction of our Latin American and Brazil regions joining into the mix. How do you think they turned up?
Oh, I love it, man. Last season, it was all about NA, but this time around, we're mixing and matching it up, so it definitely brings a new dynamic to the lobby. Yes, we're going to see Execute getting just demolished right there, ran over. And going back to Hyper, talking to Shifon, they're going to be trying out some subs here tonight. So although they have a wild point lead in that first place spot, tonight should be really interesting from them.
Wow, coming in with subs after dominating as well as they did. If they dominate tonight, well, really, there's no excuse for the competition. We look at the map results for all 4 maps. And for me, Neptura, obviously, and Hyper stole the show. But YKG, they were up there at least twice on Sandhawk in 3rd, and then Erangel, they started off in 1st place. But let's focus our conversation in Hyper, right? The team that won 3 out of the 4. Here's the stats, and those stats were insane.
They really were, weren't they? I mean, first out of the lobby and everything except assists, in which they're second. They gotta be feeling really, really good coming into tonight. I mean, if I were them, I mean, it just tells you what kind of confidence they kind of got going on if they're gonna be trying out some subs this week.
That's right. Trying out some subs. Again, that point lead, though, that they have is absolutely tremendous. And that's because of the 3 games. And I think one of the biggest leads we have seen yet, at least off of week 1. So whoever subs in, they're going to have some big shoes to fill. Powerbank, one team, though, that didn't do too well as we take a look at overall standings was the team of C4. We expected quite a bit from them coming into Season 2. They round out in 9th place, 8 elims, only 15 points, a team that needs to step it up.
Absolutely. C4 had a dominant couple of tournaments so far, and this season, I know Neptura, you were chomping at the bit to say these guys were going to the moon again, and they disappointed you in week 1. Do you think, Neptura, I mean, I know you want to hop in on this one. Are they going to turn it around in week 2?
I really hope so. I really hope so, PB, because to come out in such style last season just to kind of fizzle out here would not be a good vibe for anyone concerned. So, yeah, PB, I'm really hoping that they come back this time.
Amazing. Hey, Taylor, I want to say one more thing about Hyper. Just kind of looking at some of the numbers. We highlighted them just a moment ago, but I just want to paint the picture really quickly for the people. How dominant their week 1 was. Literally, if you look at damage done, they are more than any 2 other teams combined with the exception of 2 and 3, and it's almost neck and neck. They have absolutely blasted the competition. But I don't think any team can put together that type of performance back-to-back, and they soaked up all of the points in week 1, and it's wide open for everyone else. Excited for this week.
I am too, man. Hyper is just one of those dominant teams that impressed me. Since I'm relatively new when it comes to PUBG Mobile, I'm always questioning myself, who are the top dogs in the scene? Well, at least for Titan Series, Hyper showed that. YKG, though, is a team that we constantly talk about. Mustache Dave, they were the only team outside of Hyper to get a victory, but then they kind of slowed down a bit. Maps 2, 3, and 4. What can we expect from YKG today?
Yeah, I mean, besides having the best logo in all of PUBG Mobile, talking to Joey a little bit here, they told me they just need to slow it down just a little bit when it comes to like the close quarter combat fights and all the team comps going on. So this team, they got a lot of veterans, they got a lot of experience, but I believe last week the nerves getting to them just a little bit. So they're going to be relaxing a little more here tonight, and we should see a lot more clean, calculated gameplay coming out from them.
Which wouldn't be a bad thing. YKG is a very aggressive in-your-face team. That's one of the reasons why I like them so much. But you live by the sword, you die by the sword, and they were dying by the sword a little bit too much, I think. So that's why they might want to slow things down. Here's your 4 maps. Got Erangel, Miramar, and then Vikendi joins into the mix for map number 3 before we go back to Erangel at the very end. Vikendi, we didn't see that map last week, Neptura, but it's going to make an appearance here. Sandhawk is out.
Yeah, it is. Much to my sadness, honestly, Sandhawk being my favorite map. But Vikendi is super dynamic. It's super interesting for the viewers for sure. So I'm curious to see. You know, we've had a lot of teams kind of flounder. I think it's been a very experimental map so far because we just haven't had it in that rotation very much yet. So really looking to see if there's maybe a little bit of a turnaround there, if these teams actually have their kind of strategies under their belts now. So we'll see.
Sure. I mean, it was played at America Scrims and it was also played at the championship. So teams are now becoming a bit more understanding of how it works and flows in a competitive sense. And we'll see how they're going to play tonight with it because it's going to be coming fast. Hey, map number 1 Erangel is about to be underway. So we got to go to our tried and true predictions. And who wants to start it off? Let me look here, right? Dave, you're in the middle, so I can't start with you, baby, but you'll be second for sure. Power Bang, let's go with you. Who you going for?
I think I picked Intense Game last week twice, and I said I wouldn't pick him again, but I'm a sucker for punishment here. I'm going to go with Intense Game to take this first game.
Intense Game for Power Bang. Yep. Not bad at all. Mustache Dave, what about you?
I'm thinking a team that really needs to start today strong, a team that had a really poor start to season number 2. I'm looking at Dauntless to really kickstart their tournament here today.
Okay, not bad. So we got 2 different picks here. Last week, I think we were all on the same page pretty much. Neptura, who are you going for?
You know, I think I'm going to go for YKG coming out the bat with this one because they generally are very strong first game of the night. So I think they might be looking to at least bridge the gap a little bit with this first game. So yeah, YKG is going to be my pick.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad pick whatsoever. I think pretty much, Power Bang already shaking his head, but he knows YKG is always going to be a threat out there. And for me, I'm going to go with the second place team from last week, just behind YKG, and that's going to be V2. If you guys remember, V2 nearly clutched up in those final moments against YKG. We thought they were going to do it in that open field. Unfortunately, it didn't come to fruition. But hey, that's why it's week 2, a fresh start and opportunity for them to be on top. So without further ado, let's get into map number 1. We're going into Erangel. Let's get week 2 started strong. Hey, PB Mustache Dave, take it away.
Thank you so much, Taylor. We are diving in to week 2, baby. Dave, big prediction coming out of you for this one with Dauntless. I like the pick, my man. I really do. They honestly had a roster last week that very much resembled what they've played with up until this point, and they've been fairly successful with that roster. And I don't know what happened, what was different for week 1 of this season, but it just didn't go their way. So I think it's a great pick, and I would be remiss if they did not finish near the top of the leaderboard here in game number 1.
Yeah, exactly. That's the beauty, too, of this format, that it gives these teams a good amount of time to really study and dive deep into the VODs, you know, and to see what works, what didn't work. And Dauntless, one of these teams, they know exactly what they need to do and in order to accomplish success here tonight. And one of those main things is just not tilt if you have a bad game. I know that's something that they are going to be working on. So such a crucial skill in the game of PUBG Mobile, just to have that positive mindset. But BB, we are getting in the game, the plane path down here in the south, man. And we're going to have some military action possibly early on here.
Absolutely. I'm looking at loops, man. They've been quite the split droppers down at military, but they haven't had company to this point. And they've got V2 down there with them now. And this could be a clash of titans, but oh my God, the zone, Dave, the zone.
Oh, the zone. It is definitely going to be a sticky thorn, you know, in your sock walking in that field. So with the plane path all the way down in the south, most of these teams dropping in the southern part of this map. And as you mentioned, the zone just yoinking all the way up there. It's wide and clear. We got shooting range. We got Rozhok, School, Severny, yes, Nile. Everything just open for the pickings.
Joey's already holding down angles here, looking for, looks like Nick over in the bushes somewhere. You can see him kind of through the walls, but Joey seemingly on lookout already. Seems like a little early in the game to be playing like this. Dave, I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we see Joey just eagle-eyeing with the AC Val 9mm, and that's going to be Nick from Bope Esports. They only got 8 points. They are at the bottom, so I definitely understand the bush play. You don't want to get taken out right here, right now, but talk about getting taken out. We got Mezexis. Oh, no. BB, no, don't tell. Is that Dauntless? Don't tell me that's Dauntless. Oh, Skipper already down. This is my team. What's going on, PB?
Brother. What is going on indeed, Dave? This is not good. And hey, Joey connects. The patience pays off for YKG. They're out of the gates early, and I believe they smell blood in the water here, or at least on land somewhere. Fuego, though, going to get the brunt into this. Where is he? Joey on the hunt. And Nick Rock's over in the weeds. Like, they can't find this man. They found him now.
Gotta go for the punch out, man. I remember season 1, the punch out was the thing to do, the ultimate BM. But it looks like it is going to be a nice trade for the time being, because YKG actually have one of their squad mates down, bleeding on out. And I believe they are kind of being held as bait for the time being. So very curious to see if Joey will make the mad dash to save their squad mates, or if they're just going to continue to try to hold down this compound and buy some time to maybe let the teammates group up with them.
Interesting indeed. Joey, though, gonna go try to get Exotic back in the fight here. Mezexis into it as well with Dauntless. Unable to finish that first one, it looks like. Dauntless able to patch him back up and get back in the fight, only to maybe counterattack here. Shots coming in at Novo, and the door is broken, inactive, potentially in trouble.
Ooh,
nice molly.
Nice molly right there. Flush them out. And like you mentioned, both teams were able to get the reset, so Dauntless are back in it. It's a nice 4v4 in the kill feed, by the way. I believe YKG are getting third party from Jaguar, but we'll get back to that because we got Terran G in the front lines with the Uzi. They're going to make a play here, PB.
Absolutely. I want to see Dauntless come back and get some momentum going. So far, not so good for them, but again, I have faith still. Sometimes I write people off, and I'm just like, no, man, they're not going to come back and get it. But Dauntless is not one of those teams. Skipper knocked, though, Dave. Dauntless could be in trouble, but they answer. Tempo down in a trade.
Ooh, they are trying to get it indeed. Terran putting in a lot of work over there. Looks like 2 members of Dauntless are going to be down right now. Tempo trying to get the sneak attack with the Tommy gun from behind. Was spotted. Is going to be bleeding out on the shoreline. Inactive, trying to close the gap right now.
Problem here for Dauntless is Klaus is on Overwatch, and he was knocked up on the top of that tower. And he's going to have a tough time getting revived. But look at that. Netflix getting knocked. That's a crucial knock for Mezexis as well. I can't figure out what's going on in this fight, Dave. It just seems to be going back and forth like a pendulum here. One team in control, and then just as quickly as they gain control, they lose it.
Yeah, definitely a lot of yo-yoing going on, because when one of the teammates of the squad gets knocked down and out, immediately you have somebody running to support the aid to get the revive. And then while this is happening, another teammate on the same team is getting knocked out. So we got like a medic pretty much on both teams, just going back and forth, getting these pickups with the reset. I mean, I'm all for it here, PB.
Hey, they're still in the fight, Dave. That's all they can ask for. That's all they can ask for. YKG, on the other hand, well, somebody else's pick,
Who picked them again?
Didn't quite pan out. Oh, that was Neptura.
Oh,
she went with YKG. I feel like she was strong-armed into that one, but, she picked him. Can't say she didn't show some good faith there, and she was met with, well, immediate eliminations, unfortunately.
Yeah, we see on the live tracker, one of them still going to be in the game here. They got 1 point in the pocket. But over here, we got N Hyper. I saw Dr. Koi, I believe, swapping out for QZ. We'll have to get back to that because we got Mercy with the Bison in the bushes.
And Hyper starting to build that momentum early. 4 players still up. And they have not only Jaguar kind of out in the field caught. You saw Mercy laying there. But just beyond them, there was Bope. They choose to disengage here and actually play zone. They're going to travel north. Remember, that zone was very much hard shifted all the way to the northern part of the island. They're going to play zone here rather than get into this fight and potentially lose out on position. Remember, the plane path, super southern. Went all the way over the bottom island and the zone all the way to the top. So early rotating teams like in Hyper definitely have a distinct advantage here.
This is Bope just, getting caught in a bunch of different engagements over here. Now Bope with only 2 up. Now they got the blue zone to deal with as well. It's not going to hurt as much here this early on, but it's definitely going to start to apply that pressure. But I think, like you said, PB, you brought up a great point. A lot of teams are in the south right now. So although we got these squads right now fighting out in this current position, we might have 1 or 2 teams rotating through this area as well. That makes it even more deadlier down here. And perfect to paint the picture. We get the map here, PB.
Absolutely. You can see that rotation in full effect right now. All of these wheels, there's people driving. And unfortunately for Mezexis, they're driving right into a hailstorm of lead. Looks like Black is going to be left behind here. Inactive is going to be on the way to the zone. Let's see if they chase. They don't. They need the loot.
Yeah, and a nice little run over as well. But we got a couple teams. They are going to be sending it to that center here of this circle number 1. Severny still open. Shooting range somewhat open. I see Wanted Vigilantes holding that down. Another northern circle shift on the mini-map. A Wanted Vigilantes trying to defend the compound right now up against a crash with C4.
Man, these teams have been busy early, Dave. It's been a lot of action so far on Erangel, and Wanted Vigilantes here not in a great position to be able to support their teammate. He is in a world of hurt right now. Miner up the stairs. He's going to do everything in his power to last, but Intense Game is on the scene. You see him rotating by. Wonder if they're looking to third-party this. It looks like they are.
Yeah, I love what Intense are doing right now. They're all circling their prey, just trying to get the pinch on both teams who are currently just locked up against each other. Wanted Vigilantes looking to defend here. C4
Huge.
making the push up the stairs. Skrr taken out and flushed.
You know, that's a really great play, not only for C4 to stay alive, but Intense Game. They caught Fishy driving by on the flank to try to escape, and they made him pay. They blew up his vehicle, and now they're on the crash, trying to take advantage of C4 here. There's a trade to open the fight, and it looks like C4's holding their own to start off this fight.
Pulling it down, man. They got some Uzis, and I did like the cover fire on the doorway, really catching Intense off guard. But now we got 2 versus 2. M249 versus UMP. Daddy Payne, about 50% HP with the drop shot right there. Intense Gaming, they need to make something happen. I see one of their players are rolling in with the EBS. Let's see if that's saving grace as Ghoul going for that drop shot spray down through the door right now, PB.
I'm impressed right now. Ghoul and crew, they're playing this incredibly well. Ultimately, it doesn't pan out for them. Intense Game picks up the victory. But man, they made them pay. I mean, 2 players go down from Intense Game here, and ultimately C4 able to throw 5 points up into their total column here. And, you know, going out second overall, they've got to be happy with that performance, and they've limited Intense Game to just 2 players moving forward. And I got to say, Dave,
yeah,
that's 3 of the teams we've predicted now immediately hamstrung to start off this game.
Wow. Yeah, it's when in doubt, PB, EBS it out. You know, that's the saying here that I'm trying to bring to light. So maybe I'll get that slogan trademarked. But a lot of elims going over to Intense for missing a week already starting. Yeah, they lost 2, but still 4 points. Pretty good. And they have a nice position to gatekeep possibly here. I see loops in the area. Execute might actually rotate through this particular spot as well. So it's not over yet here.
Never over till it's over. Never over till it's over. Look at this zone, man. This is super toxic considering that early plane path. Dauntless and Jaguar just now making it out of Milta, too. So, I mean, you saw those early fights cause these teams to be very slow to rotate. Checking the replay here as Wanted Vigilantes unable to get the dub over C4. And very quickly, C4 responds, gets a nice opening knock here. And unfortunately for them, unable to persevere, and Intense Game, just too much for them. Adrian, the PMPL MVP, taken out in the process, though, and that's going to severely limit what Intense Game can do moving forward.
Yeah, it's going to limit it, but you got to give it to them for just being proactive and being aggressive right there, circling their prey, not scared, looking to get involved here early on. Definitely props going over to Intense for just trying to get these much-needed points because they recognize they need to play catch-up today on the overall leaderboard. Now, I do believe we get another circle shift. Still about 40% water in play. So honestly, if I'm a solo right now, if I'm that solo from YKG, I might opt to just go swimming here, PB, and try to get some placement points. But down here in the South, Dauntless struggling. Not that I picked them or anything, but they are struggling big time, man.
They're trying to play like the old Chinese fire drill, you know, leap over one another and do it all the way to the zone. Out of heals, out of meds, having to fight early. Their team getting picked apart by none other than Papa Blue. That is not where you want to be at this stage of the game. Dave, your pick not looking so hot at this moment.
3 more games to go. All right, I didn't say game 1. All right, the question was who's going to do good today? You know, Dauntless. Hopefully,
I don't know if that was the question, my friend.
That's what I heard. All right, who's going to do good today? So hopefully Dauntless can survive a little longer and, you know, pull it through. But going back to what we were talking about with Dauntless, particularly Dauntless, is that they're trying to work on their mental. You know, if they have a bad game, they don't want it to tilt them for the rest of the night. So this is actually a really good test to see if they can accomplish that here.
Really is. Now we got 2 more teams into it as well. Execute joining the action against Xtreme Slayers right now. Xtreme Slayers starting to take this up close and personal. Fate having to bail into the water. Yeah. Unfortunately, he fails and is knocked in the process. Xtreme Slayers getting the better of the Execute in this one so far.
Yeah, Xtreme Slayers. I believe Bray used to be on Dope Slayers. So talk about the rebrand. You go from Dope Slayers to Xtreme Slayers. So you just, you know, I feel like they leveled up here a little bit. But looking at,
I mean, is that the truth though, Dave? Is that like the hierarchy of things?
That's
Extreme is better than Dope, right?
For sure. It's because like, yo, that's dope. You know, it's like okay, but it's like, yo, that's extreme. Like it's definitely more intense. You can't deny that.
I mean, I feel like it could be a bit in the, you know, like the enunciation of the words, though. I mean, like, yo, that's pretty extreme, or yo, that's dope.
No.
You know,
extreme. That's the only way to say it.
I mean, let's just agree to disagree here. We could probably go on and on about this all day long.
Okay. I mean, let us know in the chat. But going back to that fight, we did see Execute, and this is an interesting team. I'm kind of waiting to see if they can gel together and when they can. But no. Butterfly effect. What a nice grenade right there, PB.
Oh, no. He missed the nade. Brother, he had him dead to rights. You can see that whole thing developing, and V2 getting the nice jump here. Mel taking down Juanjeda, but Juanjeda able to avoid that second finish-up grenade, and that's going to buy them a bit of time here to respond.
E2, I believe, another pick from somebody on the desk. I do recall seeing or hearing that name, but let's see. They got a duo.
That was Taylor Reflections Noble.
Reflections, okay. All right, let's see. They got a duo up, so let's see if they can make Reflections proud right now.
Wonder if that's his God-given middle name.
E2?
Random thoughts. Yeah, no Reflections. Yeah, whatever. Whatever, Dave. Let's just keep commentating.
I'm still on the extreme thing, all right? Not gonna lie, but we'll continue here as Butterfly Effect. We saw him last week, one of the mid-pack teams. I was kind of impressed, but let's see what they can accomplish here, because in Severny, BB, we got what, 3 different squads right now, all just stacked on top of each other, trying to gain a foothold.
You know, I've been watching the damage meters in game here, and I'm seeing an Hyper squad. They're one of only 2 squads left with a full roster at this point, and they're starting to mount the damage, Dave. The elims are starting to rile up, and I'm wondering if Hyper is gonna. Oh man, are they gonna start it the way they finished it? Put up a 4th chicken dinner in a row? They're in the kill feed right now. It's getting crazy.
Yeah, and what's even more impressive is that they swapped out QZ for Dr. Koi as well. So, you know, they're trying to get that synergy and those team comms flowing. So if they can continue to dominate in this lobby while trying out a player, BB, that's impressive.
I agree, and this, I don't want to discount Intense Game, these folks that you see on screen right now. We've got Cielo still in it, and let's see who else we have. It looks like Diego as well, still in it for Intense Game. These fellas have put up 8 elims so far, and they're leading the lobby in damage right now. They got over 1,200 damage. Dude, there's only 2 of them left, and they're somehow outpacing every other team right now.
Yeah, exactly what they needed to kickstart their Season 2. And talking about kickstarting something, looks like Butterfly Effect trying to evict B2. Both these teams have just been trading grenades back and forth, just trying to get the knock to pretty much make that push to seal the deal. It looks like James catching a grenade themselves over here.
Ooh. Spans into the house. It's has got a good angle here right now on some of these Black Mamba players. Black Mamba sneaking into these zones. They're still at full strength. Only one elim, though. We'll see if Black Mamba can start putting things together, but they need it. They desperately need it. Sitting in last place right now. Well, I guess second to last. They got an intense game with 0 points, but they have actually been passed up already. Intense game has thrown up 80 limbs so far, so Black Mamba needs it.
Oh, there goes V2 right there. Kubi able to push up to the wall. That Molly doing a ton of damage. But going back to your point, Black Mamba still 4 up. The only team with 4 up. Looks like we did lose one from Hyper in the mix, who are trying to take up as much terrain as possible down there in the south. Looks like they did get intertwined with Mezexis, and now they actually might run into the duo, the Death Wrecking Ball of Intense, as we saw them driving out there in the distance in those buggies looking to get involved.
Speaking of death, I don't even know what you said. The death,
Death
no,
Wrecking
great.
Ball.
I'm liking
Destroyers.
it though. Nova and Hyper has lost a member though. We got all eyes on Black Mamba now to take advantage of this opportunity, and an opportunity for you to take advantage of in chat is the UC giveaway on screen right now. So give that thing a screenshot and go enter it in at PUBGmobile.com/redeem. What?
Got him.
Koi making him pay.
Dr. Koi in the house. Dr. Koi in the house, trying to get a spot on the main roster right now, PB.
You love to see it.
Intense.
Rotate is on here.
Looking good. I like how they're just so active. You know, they're trying to get the high ground. They're trying to get the vision, the angles, the intel. Not backing away anytime soon here, PB.
I wonder if Intense Game has a shot, man. I did pick them to win here, and I kind of wrote them off after that early engagement where they lost 2, but they're looking strong, and all of the other teams are pretty weakened right now.
Did you just DM me that Xtreme is definitely better than Dope?
Yep, that's 100% what I said.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. What else is good? Koi, last one alive right now for the team. What do?
You just survive.
Yeah.
Try not to get shot. That's what's going on here. Koi is in a position where he's gonna have to prove his mettle right now. No elims right now to his name, but that's all right. He's got a shot here. His eyeballs are locked on to inactive.
Yeah. Inactive, just continuing to smoke out their position to survive a little longer. All these players, fingers crossed right now that the zone goes their way. Netflix, 4 more smokes to go, trying to avoid the grenades. These grenades are getting awfully close from Intense, making it through a little slit in that window. But look at this, the door open in the backside. Netflix knocked down once again.
Black Mamba starting to turn it on here, picking up these solo players that seem to be isolated from their teams. They're doing a great job converting those into points. So got to tip the cap to Black Mamba so far. Again, this looks to be their game to lose right now. All 4 players up. The next zone shift is about to land. Where's it going to go? Going towards Cerverni or give us an open field finish? Maybe a bit to the southwest here.
6 more grenades.
Here it comes.
We might get it. We might be able to get the flush on Netflix here. 5 more to go.
I'm impressed.
I'm feeling intense this game. Like, I feel like they have a good shot at winning this chicken dinner. The zone will also favor them. So I believe this hilltop still in play just a little bit, but they are going to be pushing down here to the shack.
Now, does Diego, you know, I'm wondering if there's a threat right now. It does go to the southwest out into the open. It's exactly where I thought that zone was going to center up. But I'm wondering about Koi. Obviously, he's got to move. He's sitting on top of that shack. What an interesting spot to be in. So we'll see if Koi, you can see him out in the distance there. I think Diego might have got line of sight on him here.
Yeah, Diego.
Let's see if he moves.
Might even have 2. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Koi out there in the distance, definitely spotted. I'm curious if they are aware of an inactive from Mezexis, their position as well, because that could be 2 additional elims going this side of Intense here.
Indeed it can. I'm got my eye on Butterfly Effect as well. 3 members still up. And I got to give props to Aton. We haven't mentioned them at all really this game. They came into this one with 1 player short. We only had 63 in the lobby. And that 1 player missing was from Aton Esports. And they have made it with all of the players they came with so far to this stage 6 circle.
Uh-oh. Koi, it looks like we're going to be pulling up to this shack. Koi knows exactly where Inactive is. Inactive has 5 grenades, might underhand, might let it cook, but instead going to be popping out with the DBS here. And oh, Dr. Koi in the house with the DBS to take out Inactive.
I feel like it would have been better for Inactive if he would have looked in the direction of the player he was fighting.
It helps.
I mean,
but when you got the DBS, you're just, the confidence is just
that's
going through your veins.
I mean, it does shoot a slug, but I feel like the spray on that slug is quite wide.
Next time, PB.
Don't try to make sense of it,
Next
Dave.
time.
The DBS is overpowered, is what I'm saying.
Next time. Regardless, that was an extreme fight, some would say.
Pretty dope. I gotta give it that. So we are down to 4, Dave. Just 4 teams left, and Intense Game is among them. I believe we've got Black Mamba, Aton Esports, and Hyper still in it. And Hyper's got a shot here. Koi trying to earn his stripes right now on the Hyper roster. Not looking good for him, though. This zone is going to give him some troubles here any moment. He's got to cross an open field.
Yeah, definitely will be a challenge going over to Koi down there in the south. And going back to Aton, we saw them on Sandhawk last week. They were popping off. Really impressive from that squad. Like you mentioned, they're going to be down a member, but I would just love to see that fight between them and Black Mamba. I have to assume it's going to happen. Both those teams are just on the cusp right now, just fighting it out. But over here, looks like Intense, little pre-fire action, letting Koi know, hey, we know you're over there. You're stuck. You're not moving.
I'm really impressed. I'm impressed with Intense Games resource management. I mean, they were down to 2 players, and you can see them spamming into the smoke, playing super aggressively. These guys have been lobbing grenade after grenade at a shack, and they're still sitting on 300 rounds of ammunition at this point in the game, really without taking any close-range engagements. So impressed with the resource management right now of Intense Game. They really haven't looked to be shorthanded at all, and they're blessed right now with zone, as it looks like Black Mamba's going to have to leave their compound and try to secure a safer spot in this next circle.
Yeah, if I'm Black Mamba, I'm going to try to get an opening knock with a grenade onto Aton and just push their compound, as I do believe it's going to be right there on the edge. That has to be the play, because looking ahead, PB, it's just an open field at Intense. They're going to be looking right in their direction. So all eyes on Black Mamba right now with the numbers advantage, and they definitely need these points.
I'm kind of, the devil in me is saying hard shift towards Hyper and Intense Game, because I feel like you have the superior teams with fewer numbers, with longer odds that are a bit further away from the circle, and then you've got like the Black Mambas who are currently in the bottom spot with a full squad, and I kind of want to see them have to go across with the numbers advantage and open field towards. Koi's pushing the Koi. Oh my gosh!
What happened? Intense, man. They just had enough. They had enough. They went back to their resource management, like you said. Like, listen, we got a ton of bullets. Let's go use them. The crash on Koi not working in their favor.
I said Koi didn't have any EWIMs just yet, and now he is got a couple under his belt and is leading the team in damage right now. He's got almost 400 damage to his name. Pretty impressed by the play of Koi there to knock off 2 from Intense Game. That's no slouch of a team.
And the loot too. So I'm very curious, how many meds,
That's true.
Maybe smokes. If the circle doesn't favor Koi, depending on how many smokes we're able to pick up, we can make our own little smoke wall over here and push into the zone a little further. So that push from Intense definitely helping Koi big time when it comes to resources.
Really does. We were just commenting about how Intense Game was looking pretty kitted. Lots of loot, lots of ammo. So Koi's got resources for days out there. Question is, where's this zone going to go? We've got 10 seconds until the circle adjusts once again. Now I'm really rooting for it to go to him. I want to see Aton Esports and Black Mamba have to fight it out. This thing pushes to the southwest even further. Come on, Dave. Here it comes.
There it goes.
Ooh, it centers up.
Oof.
Really kind of favors the 2 teams that have the numbers advantage here, because, again, Hyper probably has to move first, and that's probably a situation where I just go out to zone here if I'm Koi. Maybe try to pick off a third party, see what develops. Tough spot for him, though, with that a huge open field to cover.
Yeah, very challenging for Koi, especially with the angles that we see right here from 777 over here, looking in their direction. So it's only a matter of time before Koi might be another point going over to Black Mamba.
We'll see. Now he's got an opportunity right now to put in Hyper again on the top of the charts in damage, and Ten's game has 200 more damage right now than in Hyper. And hoping to see in Hyper put another impressive performance together. Koi, though, strong out there, but man, look at those odds. It's one versus the world, it seems like. Cat God able to secure a nice position right out in the center. I like what he's done with the vehicles, kind of setting themselves up. Rest of the team following, and look at this. Leon getting the knock on somebody from Black Mamba. It looks to be their anchor, and they'll have to leave him behind. That is BLK 777.
Yeah, going to be bleeding out. This is so interesting to me because both Aton and Black Mamba, I feel like they're scared almost of each other. Instead of taking the fight, they're trying to play the zone with the soft cover from the smokes over here. Very interesting decision-making coming out from both these teams right now.
Oh, they're not going to worry about Koi any longer. Cat God realizes it, and he's going to go for that off angle. Setting up early. Chuko is knocked, and it's now down to the remaining two members in Milos. From Aton, he is down, and it's a 4v1 situation. Just like that, it's over. Black Mamba, wow, from last to who knows what, but they finish in first place in our first game of the day. Dave, I gotta say, this is one that no one predicted, but it's one that Black Mamba desperately needed.
Yeah, GG's to Black Mamba. I believe they were dead last on the overall leaderboard, I think with only 3 points from 4 games last week. So I understand why they're playing that one slow. They're really trying not to throw that chicken, but then there's another side of me like, Cat God, just send it, just send it through the smokes in the vehicle, get the runovers, cause that distraction play. But regardless, PB, they got the winner chicken dinner.
They really did. Again, huge performance again from Nova as well. Nova picking up a bunch of points, finishing in the top 3. They're not doing any other team's favors. Let's go ahead and bring it back to the desk and get everyone else's opinions on this first game.
Yeah, great first game. Black Mamba, the challenger team that entered into Titan Series for the first time last week. They didn't show up, at least in week 1 at all. They literally last place, only 3 total points. Week 2, though, the jitters are out of the way. No shaky hand syndrome here. They move forward and win that first game 1. Incredible job. And Neptur, I'm going to go to you first. We watched all of map 1 from the sidelines while we heard wonderful commentary from PB and Mustache Dave. But I want to talk about how slow the start was for this map 1 comparative to week 1 map 1, which was blazingly fast. We saw wanted Vigilantes aggressively off the start take out Mezexis. We lost a couple of teams shortly after that. This time it seemed like 5 minutes passed before we even lost a single player.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting because you would have thought that this would really just make, especially that south side, super intense and super quick to get to those fights. But I think it just rattled them a little bit. That was totally unexpected, and I think teams may have been a little bit at a loss to go. I'm muted, hang on. I was talking, so stream could hear me, just you couldn't. So,
right.
Yeah.
I love that.
All good, but yeah.
I'm sure the point was great. No, seriously, I mean, look, a slow start off the rip, and then it started speeding up. And then once it heated up and it started speeding up, things started to get pretty serious. And I want to point out Mezexis, who I said was eliminated off the rip in game 1 last week, PB, super early on, middle of the pack this time around, top 6 position, big improvement. So we're seeing teams last week who weren't as star-studded this week start to look a bit better.
Absolutely. Across the board, we saw a good little mix-up. Teams that maybe not showing out last week, starting to get their momentum, their feet underneath them, so to speak. A few others that need to turn it around did not as well. So it's a bit of a grab bag, and we did see some familiar faces towards the top in Hyper once again. Intense Game had an impressive showing despite losing 2 players early.
Yeah, despite losing 2 players early, it always amazes me in PUBG Mobile how well teams can still play with a reduced team. In Hyper, though, great placing, top 3, and that was pretty much carried on from just literally one teammate for the longest time. 2 players from Intense Gaming were taken down. Big story, though, Black Mamba getting the 17 points. And you notice YKG's not on here, Mustache Dave, and I wanted to point that to you. You mentioned they were going to be slowing things down this time around where they normally have a hot game 1. You think they slowed down a little bit too much where it threw them off?
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, when we're talking about slowing it down, they meant like slowing down how many points they get per game, because they want to give these other teams a chance. You know, they want to give Black Mamba, Bope, Dauntless a chance to really thrive here in this lobby. So honestly, we should be thanking YKG for pumping the brakes here a little bit today.
Well, I guess Aton didn't get the message. They came in third in standings, and they finished game one in second place. Well done to them. And we take a look 9 through 16. Wanted Vigilantes only getting 1 point total, which, again, is like night and day from the performance last week. Neptura, though, from your perspective, obviously we highlight Black Mamba. Who else stood out to you in map one?
I'd say probably Hyper. I mean, that low in that stood for the longest time. Did the business for his team, so really excited to see him come in. I think he's one of the new players. I don't remember seeing him on the roster before, so really exciting stuff coming in from him.
Love that. In Hyper, despite them having some new additions, as Mustache Dave said, they're moving some pieces around. They get third place. We look at overall standings PB, and in Hyper, no surprise, still in first place, going from I believe 77 to 90. Brother, they might break 100 by the end of tonight.
Look at now, they have doubled up the second place team at this point in time, quite literally at this point. So in Hyper running away with things here, a strong start today, number 2 here, and I will say they didn't win the game. They put up 13 points, just the same as a couple of the other teams. Man, teams have got to start targeting them or something if they want a chance to win and move on here. The good news is we're playing qualifiers right now. Right. So if In Hyper wins at this stage of the game, it's not the end of the world. They're just going to take home, maybe a couple more bonus points than you. So ultimately the finals are what matters. And these qualifiers, though, In Hyper, they're clicking on all cylinders.
It seems like they are. Mustache Day, Black Mamba goes from 15th place all the way up to now, I believe, top 10, to round out top 10 with 20 points. So a collective total of 17 points from game one. And from your perspective, though, from Black Mamba last week, we didn't have a chance to really see too much of them. But what did they do right this time in order to find success in map one?
In my opinion, what they did right is they recognized these zones are up there to the north, so they went straight to Severny. They held it down, they turtled up, and they made sure to just stay alive up until that late game. And we even saw them playing a little passive, in my opinion, in the late game when they pushed out, using those smokes, kind of following Cat God as the leader, the intel gatherer. I would have liked to have seen them get a little more aggressive, but I do appreciate that they're definitely playing for the win in mind and trying not to be last here on the overall leaderboards.
That's fine, and definitely not going to be last at this point, looking scary without question. I think one of the more consistent teams, though, Aton Esports, still, like I mentioned, second place. Good job from them. And Neptura, they played that map one just with 3 players, so they knew they had to mitigate a bit of risk here and there. They didn't have a full squad, but they still played with a full deck of cards either way.
Yeah, they really did, and I especially liked in that kind of the in-game when it was down to 3 or 4 teams. They played it super slowly, rush out. They knew they had, a disadvantage compared to a lot of teams, and they played it really nicely. Got those height advantages, just played it nice and slow, played it carefully, and just waited for other teams to start making mistakes. So they did a good job, and they had a good result because of that.
Absolutely good result. They continue to move up, but can they get 90 points? I don't know. Like you said, TB, they literally doubled that, in Hyper 90 to 45. But it's a start either way. We got Miramar coming up next. Map number 2. Can't wait to get into that one. And in Hyper goes back to a map that they dominated from week number 1. Can they do it this time around with some new additions? Well, they showed in map 1 that they still got it even with some substitutions. And PB, you asked me a question indirectly when we were doing map number 1, and you said Reflections, is that my God-given middle name? And the answer is yes, actually. Surprisingly, bro, God said, let there be light. I was there because I'm old enough to be there. And he said, your name is Taylor Reflections Noble. And I said, God, why? And he said, bro, I don't know. It's just something I want to do. So there you go, PB. Now, why Powerbang, though? Is that your God-given name, too?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't put my first and last on the end of that one. That's not my middle. That's just getting weird, Honestly, there's a whole origin story here. I'm sure some of the viewers have heard it before. I'm not gonna go into it right now, but it wasn't my God-given middle name.
That's okay, though. You know, God only gives out certain middle names, and Reflections happen to be one of them. You can't help it. But Mustache Dave, that is a God-given mustache, and I'm loving every bit of it. I started Power Bang last time for predictions. Let's go over to Neptura this time around. Hey, who you going for map 2?
Oh, that's a really difficult question. I really want E4, but my gut's just not feeling it. I'm going to go with Aton, honestly. I did a really good job, and I want to see what they do on Miramar. So yeah, Aton for me.
Aton, solid pick, staying consistent. I like it. Dave, what about you?
Can't doubt Intense. Now, they did lose 2 really early on, but I definitely appreciate how we saw them just coming into game 1 with the aggressive mindset, and it was looking really good throughout the entirety of that game. We even saw their final moments. They were still playing aggressive when all the cards were stacked against them. When they sent to that shack, yeah, they got wiped out, but the point is they're making moves. They're making plays here today.
Okay, Intense Gaming, that's going to be them. Despite the 1v2, you got faith in them. I like it. PB, what about you?
I feel a little shameful going this route, but I'm going to go within Hyper.
What?
They look like levels above everyone else so far. They got a little slow to rotate, quite honestly, compared to what they normally do. I think that might have something to do with some new players in the lineup.
Sure.
Chiffon's playing tonight. Koi's playing tonight. We saw in PMPL, the second the zone popped, they were in a vehicle headed for the middle. This time they played edge a little bit, kind of working their way in, and it ultimately didn't quite pay off for them. I think with better positioning, they went out at the end of the game there. And yeah, I'm going to go within Hyper here in game number 2.
In Hyper, a solid pick, a smart pick, educated. Who am I going for? I'm going in Hyper, man. I laughed. I did. I thought it was funny. But I'm going in Hyper, and I'll tell you why. It makes sense, right? Because they are trying new people out. They're substituting them in, whether for a permanent roster, maybe for not a permanent roster. But regardless, though, there's that honeymoon phase. And that honeymoon phase is real when it comes to esports. And that's why they got a top 3 placing, even with just 1 player remaining. So you know what? For me, I got to go in Hyper. I think they're going to be my team to take it, but let's find out. Right, map number 2 is going to be Miramar, so without further ado, Hot Chooks & Co., take it away.
Let's go. What is good, everybody? My man, the myth, the legend, Mustache Dave. How are you feeling, bro?
Hey, I'm doing good, man. I'm happy here, Jukes, because I need to solve an issue. I got an issue, man.
Go ahead.
Let me ask you here, okay?
Give it to me.
Dope or extreme? Exactly. Like which name is just a stronger? What name when you hear it just feels like you're leveling up and you're just winning in life?
Okay, well, here's the thing, right? So Dope Slayers originally had the LLC at the end of their name, right?
That's
they were incorporated, right? They reduced their liability that way, okay? But you don't need any liability when you're living an extreme lifestyle, okay, Dave? Right? So when you're going full-fledged, huevos to the wall, right? I guess that's the right way to say it. Xtreme Slayers, I think, is the way to go. So I think that's a good transition for them.
No liability. I love it, man. So thanks, Jukes. Always love getting your insights here to settle the qualms out here. But Miramar. And then after we got Vikendi, your favorite. You'll be on the sticks when that comes rolling around. But Miramar, Intense Gaming, game 1. Hot Jukes, Intense Gaming showing up, man. They weren't here last week. They're showing up this week, and they're making a name for themselves here in the Titan Series Season 2.
Intense game, bro. Gaming it up hardcore. And I'll tell you what, when it comes to Intense Game, I was really impressed with their game 1 performance, Dave, because, Power Bang picked them for game 1 last week, and they didn't perform. They didn't do too hot, Dave. But just showing the difference in numbers from their game 1 performance last week versus this week, they're looking like they're ready to go. All right.
Yeah.
So it's Miramar. They're ready. They're hot
Miramar
in the desert. Let's get it.
Let's get it. Helps when they show up too. So
that's true.
Yeah, it helps when they show up.
It was an interesting strategy. Not gonna lie.
You know what's even interesting is that they didn't show up and they're already ahead of a couple of teams who did, right? So I think if you're one of these teams beneath them, you really gotta pull it together. You know what I'm saying? Pull it. We're in week 2. Hot Jukes. All right, we're in week 2, season 2 of the Titan series, where teams are forged in fire. So Intense Gaming already in the 12th plot on the overall leaderboard so far.
Oh, let's go, let's go. So we're already making some moves little by little. They got a lot of catching up to do, that's for sure. But like PB said earlier, it's the qualifiers. So you don't really have to sweat too crazy, but you don't want to give a team like Hyper all the bonus points in the world. And so far it looks like they're gonna get them. And to be honest with you, I picked them for Miramar last week because of how they perform so well when they have high ground situations. And with this northern zone, there's going to be a whole lot of that available to them. So I would not be surprised to see them perform here.
Yeah, they got the doctor in the house too, swapping out QZ to kind of see how Dr. Koi does on the team here. Yes, we saw Dr. Koi play previously, but I feel like now they're starting to really consider this player as one of the starters on the squad. So after last game, hey, we saw him popping off with the DBS. So if I'm QZ, I'm worrying a little bit here, Hot Jukes.
Yeah, QZ, you gotta keep them eyes open because you never know when your spot could not get stolen because QZ's a monster. So I think he can show up whenever he wants to. Never knows. Who knows?
Never know. Talking about showing up, Diego showing up on Wanted Vigilantes right now, Hot Jukes.
Ah, look at that. Diego putting that suppressive fire because he is all by himself. That is the correct play. And when you're all by yourself, split looting like this, you really risk getting full sent on. So right now he's just trying to pretend like he's a whole squad and not let anybody get near him. But sometimes they can backfire because if, Wanted Vigilantes definitely gets the heads up like, oh, you know what? This guy is solo. They're going to full push him and take him out.
Yeah, I think that's why we see Diego kind of swap into the UMP, like you said, spray some of those shots, spray some of the M4 shots, throw a pen in the air, maybe even a grenade. Just let them think that something crazy is going on over here, and you don't want any piece of that. So I think it kind of worked out in Diego's favor, as it does look like Wanted Vigilantes trying to avoid them at all costs right now. But talking about trying to avoid Team Jaguar, looks like they're going to be up close and personal with, you guessed what? YKG. Your favorite team here, Hot Jukes.
Not my favorite team. That is Neptura's favorite team. And you know what? I'll tell you what. YKG, I've been looking at them lately, okay? I've been really concerned with their play style because, before we've seen them land towards El Pozo so many times, and usually that is their spot. They don't have to worry in the world, but they got kicked out in the America's Championship, but they're back here now. So I'm interested to see if they're going to stick with this in not just the Titan series, but in other tournaments as well.
Well, they were able to get one knockout the mix right there, and I believe Dauntless are also in the area. So we got like 3 different teams all kind of hovering around YKG. Dauntless. This is what I was talking about game 1, okay? I was chatting with Dauntless, the team, okay? And they told me one of the things they really need to work on is not tilting, because it's normal. You get pumped up, you watch Space Jam, and then you start playing some PUBG Mobile. You're feeling good, right? But then you're playing for like 3 minutes, your whole team is just wiped. You're not going to be feeling good anymore, Hot Juke. So one of the things that this team wanted to work on was just keeping the positive vibes flowing in those situations. Game 1, we saw them not too hot. So I'm really curious to see what they can accomplish here throughout the rest of the night, now that we know they're trying to work on that positive mindset when things aren't going their way.
They got to drink that secret stuff, Dave. That's what they do. They got to have that
juice.
one player just come up and say, hey, you know what, guys? I got the sauce, all right? Take a little sip of this, chill out. Let's get our heads together and let's play the game, all right? Because, tilting is a huge part of this game. We've seen it happen so many times. We unfortunately, I wish we could, hear those player comms, because then you'd really get to look at it. But you see it, in between games, just performances change immediately. All it takes is a slight argument between 2 players saying, "No, I said push," and the other person says, "No, I didn't feel like pushing because of this and that." And one little disagreement can turn into a whole big bad storm. So gotta work on it. Gotta chill out.
Yeah, that was me this morning, man. I went to get some creamer for my coffee, and it was the can was in the fridge, but it was empty. I hate when that happens, man. But that's when you can't tilt. It's the start of the day. You just cannot tilt. So getting into this game, though, Hot Jukes.
Is there
a lot of teams, a lot of room right now they're working with? We got Bope all the way up at the Militar, all the way up there. Just big chilling. So very curious to see where we'll see them later in the game, but some potential fights right now. Aton and Mezexis, they are close to each other. We see them right here. Tempo tried to get a nice little sneaky play in game number 1 with the Tommy gun, but they were immediately spotted, tagged, and bagged. So a lot of teams right now on this west side looking to rotate into circle number 1.
West side, baby. Yep, you can see Koi there, rocking the Marauder, just trying to get those rotations going. Real smart of Bope to really head toward Campo Militar, because every single time you have one of these really hard shift circles, you know that side of the map is completely open. So Bope, real smart, headed up there quick, and have the entire lay of that land, and they're going to get all that loot. So they're not going to worry in the world. The rest of the teams are going to have to start making their way in. And yeah, look at this V2 Esports getting pieced up by Jaguar. This is over by La Correra. So we'll see if Spence is able to make it out. He's moving. He's grooving. Oh, one more bullet. And I think he made it safely.
Yeah, now they got the blue zone. It's not going to hurt too much, but it still applies the pressure. Koi with the BM, and popping the monster truck tires, popping every single vehicle's tires.
Dang.
Whoa, this is some next level gameplay right here. And this is what makes good players great, Jukes, is that they're never just sitting still. They're always trying to be proactive and deny things from their opponents right there. Right there, that was beautiful. We not only saw Koi pop some monster truck tires, but we also saw them continue on to pop any single tire that they can see within their radius that their team isn't using. That is like 200 IQ right there.
100%. I guarantee you, Koi probably works for a tire shop in his off time. You know, he's looking to get that money, baby. He's looking to get that money right there. So, I mean, heck, he just created a whole bunch of new customers right there for himself. And, I mean, look at this. It's a big tire right here. And Cat God driving away from that monster truck, not wanting to lose any of those, especially with the zone like this. It's such in a very awkward position that you're going to need a vehicle to rotate no matter where that circle goes. But I got to ask you this, Dave.
Ask me.
What do you think about these new zones? Huh? They don't,
pretty crazy.
They're not as you know, small as they used to be. A little bit bigger.
Bigger the better, Hot Jukes.
Have you noticed that? It's crazy, especially towards end game. I think I really like the change personally, because with these zones changing and not having it really reduces the amount of RNG, I think, in this game. So we'll see right now if Joey is able to make it out of here alive. Exotic got that DBS, trying to pop some shots. Crazy drive-by, and not to mention they're driving right into loops here. So YKG able to survive for now. Here's Exotic, F16, pop, 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 pop. 1 HP, get him.
So Exotic was definitely feeling the drive-by, and then Joey just, pulling off over there. I do like the play. We got James right beneath him. I'm not sure they're aware of James. We're going to be fishing over here. James will be cooking some grenades, tossing it over the ridge here. It's going to be James from Butterfly Effect. They are not happy about the drive-by from Exotic, and that one's going to be the love tap right there.
Third party.
Now they're getting, like you said, now they're getting third parties. So things just are not going in the favor of YKG. See a duo in a bus trying to get on out of harm's way.
So what happens when you try to make these rotations a little bit later than normal? You know, and I figured YKG would learn this, especially after the Americas Championships, because those Brazilian teams, man, they rotate so fast.
Here we go.
Look at this. Here comes Intense Game, trying to teach them a lesson. And whoo, did they learn that one real quick.
Wow. Intense Game. They are on something else, man. I love watching this team. Not scared. They aren't hesitant with anything. And we were talking about players before. When you have a call from the IGL, you just go with it. We can see the IGL from Intense. They say, okay, let's push. Two of you guys go up there, try to get involved, and that's exactly what they do. No hesitation from this squad right here.
Zero hesitation. And that is what makes a championship team. I really love the fact that, here in the Titan series, we're seeing teams from all over the world compete against each other, because it just raises that skill cap just that much more. And I'm really looking forward to seeing all these squads just level up here day by day, because there's more tournaments coming up down the road, and we're still looking for that consistent North American team. And I'll tell you what, Right now, all eyes have been on Hyper. They finished in 2nd place during the Americas Championship, and they're looking really good so far here, Dave.
You know what else is good? A UC giveaway, baby. Woo! That is what's looking good right now on your screen. Make sure you type that in, get that UC while it's hot. And guess what, Hot Jukes? It's already gone, man.
It's gone.
It is gone. You got to be quick, man. You got to be on your toes here. And talking about being on your toes, Butterfly Effect keeping Loops on their toes. As now we only got one more Loops player alive trying to defend their current position with the UMP.
Big Chief with a low toss nade, running into safety, gets down to half health, buys himself a couple more seconds. He's gonna try and get a crazy pre-fire off with his UMP, and isn't able to do it. Butterfly Effect shutting down Loops. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Surprised with Loops. A little surprised with Loops, but you know what? They got a couple more games to go. Next zone did pop, so Bope, they're holding the dead center. Now it looks like the circle is going to be shifting a little up there, touching the northwest, and Execute now the team in the center. Meanwhile, most of the teams here, Hot Jukes, in the south all need to now make their move, make their approach into this new northern zone. It's going to be a clown fiesta down here, man.
Yes, sir. You can see C4 is way out of position. They're trying to get into this circle. If they kind of go through that Campo Militar area, they will be able to get there safely. But Skur is very nervous right now. He still has that buggy, but he knows the second he starts taking off, it's going to get shot at most likely. So tries to thread the needle. Doesn't quite do so, but maybe that was intentional. Just trying to, you know, maybe bait out some shots. Here comes Kindness.
Netflix.
On to Netflix. Netflix with the shots. Can he take on Kindness? No, gets DBA right in the beak.
We're not done, though. Kindness with the DBS. Still two more Mezexis players over the hill. Chiffon on the back end of this one, trying to get the surprise attack, but the third party from downtown is going to be making Kindness pop back behind that tree for cover. Inactive UMP in the front lines, though. Hot Jukes on Decoy. Going to be taking them down and out. Looks like Kindness was able to heal up after that third party. Pull up from behind and sealed the deal. 4 limbs going their way.
Kindness said, where you running, huh? Where are you going? Nice little, you know, nice little play there from Inactive to try to make something happen. Here comes Skur, driving by Julian. Julian holding it down here. He's going to start throwing those nades, just trying to catch somebody slipping here. Maybe. Kind of a cheeky one. I didn't know what exactly he was trying to do with it. Yeah.
Something.
All
He's
right.
cooking.
Hopped out the building just in case.
There we go.
Pre-fire nade. Oh, gets beat to heck. Running for safety. And I don't know. I don't think that was a very extreme play from him. Dave.
Who parked the monster truck
play.
right there, by the way? Man, Skur with the M249 now looking to get the confirm right there, the much deserved. Oh, Dauntless. Okay. Still alive, still active, but talking about being active, intense now, making the push onto Black Mamba.
The Black Mamba ready to strike to the lobby.
What happened there?
Just like that. One nade is all it takes. Goodbye.
That was intense.
That was it. That was intense. I'll say that right now.
Yeah, very intense. Still really loving the play style from that squad. You know, just
they're coming in hot.
Exactly, they're just coming in hot, man. They remind me right now of YKG season 1 Titan series. How they were
when
playing.
Joey was Joeying.
Yeah, exactly. Just going out there, getting into every single battle possible, and just looking good while doing it.
I don't know what's going on, man. I mean, this team's definitely... YKG is the squad that I have so much faith in, but they've definitely been having some struggles of late. I saw Joey. I tried to message him. His social media, gone. Twitter, gone. Instagram, gone. So, hopefully, maybe he's just going into like a hyperbaric, time chamber, just trying to, level up himself a little bit to avoid all the distractions. I don't know what it is, Dave, but I hope it works.
Talk about hoping it works. Aton. Hopefully their in-ears work. Hopefully they can hear the solo. The sneaky player.
Pitter patter, little feet.
Yeah.
Corn feet.
Boulder.
Oh, no, that's a dragon.
Skur still down there with the M249. Making all the noise right now, Jukes. They're outside the play zone too, so I don't know about making all that noise over there when they need to reposition.
Nope, they're not making it out of there alive. That's going to be a tough rotation for them. Aton is going to get sandwiched here if they're not careful. They definitely know that there's danger nearby. Here comes Nightcrocs from Bope Esports. Thinking about throwing that nade. Decides to hold it on for now. Yeah, now he's starting to get a little bit into a weird spot. Here we go. The big old Leon Sinho trying to get these shots down range. Switches to M16. It's not going to be enough.
Yeah, this is a blessing, by the way, for C4, who were currently underneath the thumb of Aton on the hilltops, looking right at them. So now that Aton is distracted and losing at that up against Bope, C4, they're going to be trying to sandwich them right from behind. And yes, we can see in the feed C4 Skur with the M249 pulling up right now.
Wow. All right. Choco just threw that nade. What a headshot there from Nightcrocs. One more bullet. And not able to do it.
Safe.
So, wow.
I'm on fire. Mel's on
fire.
Oh, my goodness. Mel is on fire. This is going to be butterfly effect. It's up to James with the UMP. James versus Intense. 4 players from Intense, by the way, with 9 elims. And I believe James is like, no, I'm not taking this. Popping in the vehicle, trying to hit that eject button. But Nightcrocs over here in the smokes up against C4.
Let's see what Nightcrocs can do. He's in that smoke, but he's going to run right into the fire. And C4 going to shut him down. Now, that fight ended up perfect for C4 because they were able to get this push up for free. So, beautiful timing from them. And now they've got 5 eliminations. So, really, really fortunate position. They got to finish strong here.
Yeah, great stuff from them. And not only that, looks like Bope still one alive. So, they were able to pull back just a little bit. Survive a little longer. Just a little longer. 8 teams to go. I don't know if I take those shots, Hot Jukes.
Do it.
You think so? You think so?
Do it. Why not, dude? Let them know. Hey, we're here. We're looking to get this dub. I mean, not we're here. I'm here. It's just him by himself. All right? Sometimes you got to go and just make some plays, Dave. And instead, he decided to make his life last a little bit longer in the game. Can't blame him there. Intense game. Owning right now. 9 eliminations. Here comes a nade on the Klaus. Oh, it's very close. Here go. And you can just see Intense game starting to do some really nice wraparounds here. Klaus has to make a play. Does he see him? Did you see Diego? Oh, he split. He tried to make a play.
That's the thing. If you ever want action, Hot Juke, say things are getting a little calm, just go watch Intense game. Because they're fighting somebody. They're always in a fight. So they should be able to get the pickup and get the loot here, as they're going to be right here on the edge, taking down Dauntless right there after that engagement. So Wanted Vigilantes are going to be to the south of them and Execute to the north. So only time will tell which team Intense want to take out next.
Oh, Skur trying to get those shots from long range. Not going to be able to hit the mark right here, but he is just inside the zone, so he's fine. He's going to have to really watch out for Wanted Vigilantes, though. That's going to be the squad right next to him. You can see there on the mini-map. Going to go ahead and try to get looted up just a little bit more and hopefully crest that hill in just a second. He does have eyes there on Intense game. Tries to put some shots down range, just avoid that push and buy just a little bit more time here for C4.
Yeah, so it does look like Intense are going to opt to go towards the south here. Want the Vigilantes down here now in the engagement. The duo, Skur peeking their head over that ridge line, was going to be spotted there, trying to avoid the thirst. And Daddy Payne with the support to make sure their squad mate stays alive for the time being.
Staying very close together, very, very nervous when it comes to grenades, but they seem to have that confidence and realization that there wasn't anybody near them. So they are going to get that res here. Intense game, 11 eliminations. Already 2,000 damage here, Dave. So Intense game are popping off here in week number 2. Looking to catch up to everybody after, you know, their slight absence in week 1.
So Intense right now, they do have 1 down up against Execute. I feel like with what you're telling me with the current team of Execute trying to find that sweet spot, trying to gel together, I feel like Intense might be able to take advantage of that here in this fight.
I'll tell you what, Intense needs to watch out for Juancho, though. Juancho, an absolute monster of a player. He is getting third party, though, so he heard those shots. He saw them whiz by his head. He's going to hop in that buggy and say, nah, I'm going to rotate to another spot.
Yeah, that's V2 all the way up there in the north. So V2 looking to get some shots out there on the battlefield. But look at this. Oh, man. Intense, just once when they sink their teeth in their prey, they do not let them go here, Hot Jukes.
No, they do not. Let's see what Yellow can do. Is he's going to put some shots onto Fate. Fate's going to be able to make that run across to get that res onto Casper right on time, too, because look at that new zone, Dave. It is centering on up, and they are outside of that circle. So Juancho going to have to put some suppressive fire and hold down these two players of Intense Game for his team.
Yeah, Juancho just trying to survive right now in the smokes, as it does look like Intense attempting to get the pickup. So both Intense and Execute going for that reset over here to prepare for that next battle. Quick little stats check from PB in the back here. Intense Gaming, 2,500 damage done after only 2 games, Hot Jukes.
Monstrous performance. 11 eliminations so far. Oh, Juancho does catch Adrian, though. That could make things interesting.
Oh, that's just this game. 2,500 this game.
Just this game alone. 2,500 damage. Absolutely dominating. But you know what? You can have all the damage in the world, but you got to be able to get it done against Juancho. Here they go. Driving up slowly. Juancho's going to hear them. Oh, he's in a really bad angle. He knows it.
Back.
He's going to run away right into some shots, right into his back. And going down here. So, yeah, just beautiful rotation. 6 list. If you would have had those shots a little bit earlier, it would have been perfect. Nice shot, though, right there. Gets a nice little heady onto Diego. But just a little bit too late. Juancho is going to go down.
Yeah, using this cactus for cover for the time being.
Not very good cover, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of angles you can see through it. But V2 was in the back line the whole time, down range, kind of just trying to survive, turtling up right there. I feel like that was their opportunity to try to sandwich Execute. But hey, it is what it is, as right now, Execute just trying to survive, because guess who's knocking at their door? Intense with the pull-up.
Here we go. Let's see what Sixes can do. He's got that nade locked and loaded. Can he hit it right on time? It's going to be really tough. Not going to hit the mark there, and he's starting to get wrapped on. He knows it's coming, and Execute's in a really, really tough spot, as Intense Game are just dominating this whole lobby. It's not like they really have a great position either.
Ooh, Fate down on the off angle over here, looking to make a play.
Focusing on everybody. It's crazy.
Intense.
Oh my gosh.
Casper down.
1v2.
Looking to make a play. Intense out here, man. Just farming 15 kills. And now finally V2 trying to get a piece of the action. But look at this. They're going to be put to a halt themselves, Hot Jukes.
They just hit their Sweet 16, Dave. That's 16 eliminations there for Intense Game. And they are not done yet. They still got V2. They got C4 on their eyes. They have this beautiful hill for cover. And, I mean, they're not even having to focus on one team at a time. They're just splitting and dominating this lobby. It's crazy.
And they're just pushing. You know, they push, heal, push, heal. Like, there's no stopping them.
Third partied.
Oh, stopping
them.
V2 are
but it
done.
doesn't matter.
V2 are done.
Yeah, don't matter.
Don't matter.
Don't matter. Yeah, I get third party, man. It's fine. I'll give res.
No fear, you know?
No sweat. No sweat.
No sweat.
Oh,
and look at this. Already getting
don't
shot.
Worry.
you want to shoot at my teammates? No. Oh, man. This team, they're so good at just recognizing where all these other players are as well on the battlefield. Like, their game sense is on another level, Hot Jukes.
18 eliminations? 18 and the zone? And the zone?
So let me ask you this. Intense game.
Yep.
And Hyper. Should Hyper be worried? I mean, and Hyper have a really strong lead. Trust me, I get it. But Intense,
I'd be
with
worried
the games they're having?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this squad is just dominating right now. I mean, 18 eliminations. With this chicken dinner, that'll be 28, and they're not done yet. So this is going to most likely be a 20-something elimination game, or Intense Game. And you can see Skur going to probably feed them another point right now in 5, 4, 3, 2.
What?
Oh, he survived.
Oh,
never mind.
Kaboom! Goes the car.
And now he's just looking. He just turned around to watch Diego body his teammate.
Yeah.
And his other squad member, most likely. And as a matter of fact, the Jaguar did take that point from
and you know what's great, Hot Jukes, is that
great?
It's not just like one player on Intense that is just popping off. It's all of them. All 4 of them have a pretty solid amount of elims per individual, right? So all 4 of them putting in equal amounts of work over here. And oh yeah, hey Diego, you want an MG3, Diego? You can have it. You have it. Just take it. Why not?
He needs it. He needs it because his teammate is now knocked. Now it's a 3v3. They have the hill. They have the high ground. They have 19 eliminations. What more could you possibly ask for? Maybe a silver platter, because this is as good as it gets. Goodbye, Jaguar. Intense game. Match number 2 in the books. And this is a record-breaking game in my eyes. It's got to be, right? It's got to be a record breaker. 100%.
We'll have the back end, the statisticians let us know what's going on over here, as IG looking to get that winner chicken dinner here.
Yep. Diego, look at that beautiful wraparound with the MG3. Here comes Adrian to go ahead and just distract him with this buggy. They got nothing to lose at this point, and now they're just getting absolutely shredded.
Got him.
32 points!
Whoa! 32 points. Winner. What? Winner. Chicken dinner. What an intense game.
That was a very intense game. Goodness gracious. Are you kidding me? Right? They don't even show up for week 1, and then they come in week 2 sweating their face off and get 32 points in 1 game. All right?
Yeah.
They got to be in the first page of the leaderboards just like that in 2 games. That's crazy.
So, the thing is, I'm having a great time watching them. Can they keep it up, though, Hot Jukes? That's my question. You know, sometimes teams have like an insane 1 or 2 games. Can they maintain their insane performances, you know, or is it just a flash in the pan? I got to be the guy. You know, I got to be the guy that puts some doubt in the air. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but regardless, 32 points, it has to be a record here for the most amount of points per game.
All right, well, I'll tell you what. I don't know where they're at on the leaderboards. It's got to be definitely high up. And you said it could be a flash in the pan. All I know is that they're cooking, Dave. They're cooking. Let's take a look. Let's get you back on over to the boys, see exactly how they think about it. Goodness gracious. Reflections. I know it's your middle name, but what do you think Intense Games' middle name is after this one?
Right. Domination. Right? Desecration. I don't even know at this point, bro. That was incredible. You know, it's so interesting. Week in and week out, I continue to watch PUBG Mobile, and I'm like, all right, this team is really good. Oh, that team is really good. And now I'm like, this team is really good. Intense game. A record-breaking number, 32 points in 1 game. Might as well be jumping up, or could be potentially jumping up to top 3 in overall points after 2 games. Now, that's unofficial. We'll wait till the official. You know, as casters, we can't do math. I'm not going to even try. But that is incredible, to say the least. And can they pass in Hyper by the end of the season? After that game, I think anything is possible. Neptura, 4,000 damage done. Talk to me about how impactful and how crazy that is in PUBG mobile numbers.
That's unheard of. Pretty much unheard of. I mean, only the best of the best get those kinds of numbers, and only then you see it occasionally. You know, most of these kind of PMPL teams, you're not going to see that level of damage, that level of eliminations, or even if you do see those eliminations, that damage just doesn't come with it. This team, to get that much damage, you got to be at the forefront of those fights. You're not picking off third parties, you're not taking advantage of other people's fights, you're doing the fighting yourself. So it's just an incredible show of skill from this team to actually achieve those kinds of numbers. It's insane.
And Mustache Dave, I'm going to go to you because I asked your prediction. Who'd you say? You said Intense Game. You saw something in them. You knew they were a good team, obviously, after watching the PMPL and everything else. But I mean, what was it about Map 2 you said Intense Game, they're going to take it?
I said Intense Game, they got this in the bag, Reflections. I looked into my crystal ball and I was like, listen, Intense Game, 20 points easy. Now, would I have guessed 32? No. All right, I don't always get it right here. But I think when it comes down to it, they recognized, okay, we weren't here week 1. We have a lot of catching up to do. In game 1, they had a really good game. They're very happy, and I'm a true fan. Hot Jukes knows this. I'm a true believer. There it is. I'm a believer in momentum. All right, There's this thing I got. It's called the momentum meter. Clint's working on it. We'll see it soon. But game one intense gaming, they had that momentum meter at like 50%. As game 2 progressed, every single team fight, they were winning that team fight. So you know what? That momentum meter goes from like 50 to like 70 to like 80. By the end of the game, it was over 100. It was off the meter here, Reflections. And my fear is, can anybody stop them now that the momentum is at maximum?
Man, can anybody stop them? Well, game 1, you know, they performed well, but not well enough. Not at least like this. Hot Jukes, 22 eliminations. I mean, that is insane. The damage was crazy. They get 32 points, literally from just one game alone, and that raises the question, where do they stand in the overall standings? We look at 9 through 16, though, and a couple of teams I want to bring up here, Hot Jukes. First off, Loops, right? Are they changing the way they're playing? Because the previous weeks, even in America's scrims, they're left with 1 to 2 teammates. It's not looking too good for them. Maybe they said that strategy isn't going to work consistently. Let's play different. Maybe they're readjusting. But some other teams down there, YKG, Black Mamba, who won game number 1, now in the bottom.
What?
And I know I'm setting you up for that, but Hot Chicks, let's move on to overall rankings. They're in 3rd place.
2 games. 2 games in 3rd place. This is ridiculous. You said like if Ed Hyper is going, they can pass up Ed Hyper at the end of this, right? This whole entire thing. They can pass him up today. Like that's how ridiculous.
Don't say that.
I mean,
No,
it's
sir.
possible.
I don't know. I
There's
don't.
still
They
2 more
could. There's 2 more
matches.
games.
One more like this, and they're in the bank, baby. That's crazy.
Bro, well, come on, how that mustache, Dave? How do we change that narrative, brother? Because we go from like, there's no way in Hyper loses season 2, right? They're
Who
looking
said that
good,
though?
90
I
points.
never said that. I said Intense are winning this whole lobby. So hey, that's all I'm saying. Listen, if I am in Hyper right now, I'm the IGL. I know we got Dr. Coy trying out tonight. I'm calling back in QZZ to get things flowing here on the team. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm starting to look at Intense, and I do not want them to overtake me here tonight.
Call them on the red emergency phone, bro. You got to get in here. I don't care where you're at, what you're doing. You could be on the Miami Beach like you're going to be there next week, Mustache Dave, right?
Tomorrow.
You're playing.
Tomorrow.
Or tomorrow. There, you could be there tomorrow swimming. I don't care. You're playing today because we're about to get passed up. Intense game. They're looking serious. Well, that's 2 games down. We got 2 more to go. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, though, we're going to be dropping into Vikendi. It's going to make a resurgence here in Season 2. I can't wait for it. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hyper cooking a grenade. Toss that one right into Kindness, saying you can have it. Kindness, grenade themselves. Go for that 360 toss, and Kindness with the SK dog.
Oh, that ball. Oh, what a shot.
Just ahead. There goes one hot juke. Cat popping up with the MG3. Peppering away right here. There's one. Back to 1v1. Cartman down really low with the DD. And there goes Cat for the win.
And welcome back, everybody, to Titan Series Season 2, Week 2. We are 2 maps down, about to hop into Map 3, Vikendi. I couldn't be more excited to get into that one after our last game we just saw. I'm Taylor Reflections Noble, your host. Show my hot jukes. Looking around, baby. We got Enigma. We got Neptera. Enigma, welcome to the desk once again. You're back for the second week. How's everything going?
Going good, of course. You know, we're going to Vikendi, so I had to throw on the jacket a little bit, but we're expecting some fire gameplay in this next match.
That's right, fire gameplay, contrast with the cold, but that's all right. You know, Vikendi, it's a fun map, some chaotic zones without question, and we're going to be seeing a lot of that chaos, I'm sure, going into Map 3. Neptera, though, we've been seeing a lot of things go down today, and I'm curious to pick your brain a little bit, right? Whenever it comes to some of our top teams, how do they go about winning?
I think it's a great thing you've brought that up, because I was going to mention we're talking all the time about Intense Gaming. What a fantastic game that was, and honestly, it's probably my favorite game in a long time that I've seen. Is the best game for sure that we've seen so far. It just was so good, and not only from their perspective but also everybody else's as well. But going back to Intense Game, I think it brings home a very point in that the best teams, they don't win the end game. They start their win from the beginning of the game, and they build that momentum forward. That's how you get all those eliminations. Then it's just steamrolling, right? You get the ball moving as soon as you land, as soon as you make that first rotation, and then it's just going on from there. It snowballs. So that's really something to keep in mind, you know, for teams who do want to become that kind of team. Start your wins from the beginning, because that's what Intense Game did, and we saw the result.
That's right. I love the knowledge. You're speaking volumes out there, and I love it. I'm picking up every single book you throw out there. Hey, but real quick, though, you just dropped some knowledge bombs. Let's do some rapid-fire predictions. Neptera, starting with you.
Yeah.
Who are you going for?
Oh, go with Intense Game, man. I mean, the momentum, it's all there, right? They gotta go for Vikendi. All right, yes, let's do it. Intense Gaming, rapid fire, let's do it.
Intense Game. Enigma, rapid fire, who you going for?
Double up, Intense Gaming, baby.
All right, that's 2 for 2. Hot Jukes, baby, who you going for?
And Hyper, Intense Game's gonna get too cocky and fail.
All right, in Hyper and Intense getting too cocky. I'm going Intense. Let's do it, right? We're going into Map 3 Vikendi. I can't wait to get this started, so let's get it started. Hot Jukes, Enigma, take it away.
Let's go, baby. Match number 3. We just saw the most ridiculous game we've seen in a bit. Enigma, how are you doing, brother? By the way, one of the most phenomenal fan clubs of any player I've seen, dude. How are you feeling?
You know, we're feeling great today. I mean, the Vikendi, you know, unfortunately isn't one of my favorite maps, at least for when I used to play competitive. But it's definitely one of my favorite to watch with how many compounds and stuff there are, stuff like that. But as for the fan club, you know, not sure if we're going to be bringing that back to the game. You know, there's always the possibility maybe I'll go into the money bag and pull out a few million to buy Coops back or something. But I mean, hey, we're going into Vikendi right now. I'm not too sure, because I feel like with Neptera and I, the last time we both chose the same team, it was Caster's Curse, and they were essentially out first. So
I'll tell
you,
you,
it's different. But
I feel like when it comes to Intense Game right now, the only people that can stop them is themselves. But they practically like pub stomped the last game. It was ridiculous. But you know, like you said, a lot of you know, different compounds, a lot of hills, a lot of coverage in Vikendi. So even if it's a really small area, there's always some cover that your team can hold. But I think a Intense Game, after having such a dominant performance, maybe they just start playing a little bit too loose and might get caught off guard. That's my prediction. But if they just do exactly what they did last game, I mean, this is going to be scary. I think if they get the first squad wipe, they're going to be ridiculously like OP this whole match.
yeah, I think it's a lot of just, you know, if they overheat or not. It's a lot of just, you know, like they're feeling it. They're the only team out of the first 2 games that plays top 4 in the first match to actually play well. And obviously, you know, with over like 4,000 damage and stuff like that. Looking at the stats for their team, it's just stuff that's insane. But going from that, wanted Vigilantes having to take an early fight against Bope, getting the early kill. But I mean, I hate these early game fights because you're always using a gun that you might not like using. Someone I see has a pump shotgun of things, but Vigo trying to get a little bit of a Kobe in. Trying to get that re-knock, I think. Not sure if we'll get it, but Ophelia getting absolutely rolled. Oh my. DBS is an insane gun, but that is an absolute wipe on the Bope. Vigilantes making out the skin of their teeth, but Dauntless having to take a fight with the DBS on top of a building. Lancho jumping into the building! Almost snagging his toes, making him run to the hills with that.
Jeez. He had to retie his shoes after that one. That was ridiculous. And, you know, yeah, these early game fights are always tough because you're going into a battle without hardly any loot, any coverage. You can see Skipper there, not a vest or helmet to his name, but he's got a DBS. Sometimes that's all you need. Oh, I thought we were about to see Casper get into it right there, but that was... Oh, yes, he did. Goodbye, Casper. Should have looked up.
That's a dunzo.
Should have looked. That's a dunzo. 100%.
I mean, with this here, I mean, we're talking about the early game gear. Terran doesn't even have a vest. I mean, the DPS is basically just a sniper at this point with no vest. You get one shot and it's over, but Skipper getting another one on Juancho. Oh my goodness. I can't see anything.
Oh my gosh. All right, here goes Fate. Ring around the rosy. I wonder if he gets dizzy. Let's see if he can take the shot, though. Oh, misses both shots.
How
about the third? He misses the fifth. Can he hit one?
Sixless knocked one through the little rock opening in the stairwell. Dauntless not really looking to push this. I would see if this is me, I would just send it.
Nice
jump up into it. Going up,
oh!
Boom! Big Z.
And did that nade get dropped? Oh, I thought that nade could have got dropped. That would have been rough.
Now, what if they added that into PUBG Mobile? That's an idea. If you had a nade and you got knocked, you basically almost just knock yourself out, finish yourself with it. But Six is finally giving support to his teammate. I was wondering where Execute was at during this whole early game fight on how they were so spread out, but this is a possibility. They have the guns for it. Just a matter of hitting, you know, those one or two sick DBS shots.
Oof. They've given them way too much time now. So now Dauntless is going to get a full reset here. You can see Sixless trying to go for some shenanigans, but real soon they're going to be full up 4, man.
Yeah, it's definitely just a lot of just waiting too much. Sixes had to take this 1v2, I think. Letting him reset, get the bandages off is just not the right play.
Yeah, it's gonna be real tough here. Unless Fate can pull off some shenanigans here. Oh, actually did pick him up pretty good. Oh, Terran though, with that nice knockback. Now Sixless is saying, "Why did you peek?"
Yeah, but notice this. We see YKG in the background rotating. We might actually be able to see them just look for the third party. Wouldn't really be much of a third party because I think Execute's gonna get wiped. But oh my! Oh, I thought it was Sixless on the top. I thought it was him up top. Just oh my goodness!
I got
this
a little
is what I
lost
hate
for a
about
second. Oh
these
wait,
buildings. Oh, but
Sixless got that gas can there. You think he's gonna try and use it?
I think it might be too close. So he might just kill himself using that. But YKG might. I mean, Miracle's actually running straight into Dobro right now. They're trying to find Sixless. I mean, if I'm Sixless at this point, I'd at least be trying to go for a kill or two. We're not in that placement style gameplay anymore. Which I think might be, I think it might be a big mental block for Execute right now, you know, because we have Sixless who was a pristine player back in the day with that sort of placement points and stuff like that, and they have Fate who's a new IGL, but they'd finish off. Fate's just Sixless now, but back to the point is just I think Execute's having this big mental block of playing for zone too much and not just full committing to these fights.
Sixless now with a muscle, sneaking it up, doors open. Ah! One more.
Gets one.
Someone's coming from the back, though. He actually did get the finish, so that's kind of a throw, I think.
Ooh.
Oh.
Ah, man.
And the box gets shot.
You know.
Every bullet at that AK Enigma, just to make sure he's done for.
A little salt in the wound, or I guess some snow in the wound with Vikendi.
Snow. Yeah. The yellow one's the one you don't want in there, I'll tell you that. And Sixless is gonna have to go back to the lobby here, go back to the drawing board. Hopefully we can see the sunshine on him once again. Netflix right on to Chiffon. And now Zen Hyper struggling. Kindness goes down.
Oh, man.
It's just GK first.
A little bit of Caster's curse going on?
Maybe that's what it was. What have I done?
I mean, it's just GK. He is a player that could pull a 1v4 out.
No.
You're not feeling it?
Netflix is chilling. Yeah,
Just
that's it.
Netflix and
Mezexis.
chill, I guess. But
That's right. Tempo, maybe we might see a storm come from him onto GK first. Because he's got that smoke at the ready. And we know when he has that smoke out, he's going to bust out that G36C. And GK first trying to be a little sneaky. Come up the hill.
I'd be careful being Mezexis right now, because if you do go down to that cliffside, I mean that's a free knock and thirst. You'll end up just like Dauntless was with Sixes, running into the building alone and just getting caught out, and you're forcing your team to play as a 3-man the rest of the game.
Oh, well, and Hyper not gonna have that bounce back game in this one, and they leave that door open. I'll tell you what, intense game. They heard that creak, that the door is now open for them to get passed up.
Yeah, and if you're in intense game, you're obviously hawking the kill feed, and anytime you see Hyper or any other team that's, close to you in points, like YKG and stuff, fighting and get early eliminated, it's just some crazy stuff. But this is the replay with Dauntless. Terrence, actually hitting a nice shot on Sixes, got grazed just in the arm when he had went for the peek by Sixes, because Sixes did try to go for a bit of a pre-fire, but unfortunately didn't knock him. Now, in terms of shooting the body, I think that was more just, YG thirst my teammate, take the 1v1, but I mean, I don't blame Sixes. He's going for points.
Yep.
And if it's just right, if you're gonna leave it out for him, I'm gonna take it.
All day long.
A little bit of a freebie.
Take it to the bank. Take it to the bank. So now they're gonna be stuck with a 3-man. See if they can get something done here towards the end. We're looking over here. What are we looking at? Xtreme Slayers over here by the water. Just
yeah,
getting
they lost
looted up.
one actually. I'm not sure how, by Robert. 0 kills. YKG. I think they're just trying to rat Dauntless. I'm not sure where Dauntless's vehicle spawns are. Probably south side of Dobro, but YKG must know that Dauntless and XQ drop here. They know, from the kill feed, from map knowledge and stuff like that. It's just, this is where it was at, and we know they're still here. So
yeah,
I guess it's a matter of when you decide to give up on the chase, give up on the third-party hunt. But we are in stage 1 or stage 2 for zones right now. A lot of people are going to be playing this, I'm going to stay on the edge of the zone and I'm going to look for these fights.
That's the way to do it sometimes. I mean, especially because this is still so early. If the fight doesn't seem to be going your way, you still have a little bit of space to kind of, eject and just reset. If you do that approach correctly,
And
the
point system right now is just really leading to like this whole aspect of like, I'm going to give up center zone and I'm going to look for these early game points. And it's a lot of just like some of it's, questioning, like if you drop center and you get center zone, are you going to play center, or are you going to just be going out of your way and just saying, screw it, I'm going to fight everyone I see?
I'll tell you what, man, we've definitely shifted towards a third party meta. That's for sure. If you can catch an early fight, just third party and clear out those early game points, man, does it help you out big time. So you're most likely going to find those on those edges of the zone, right? It's going to be really tough to find one dead center. So, and not to mention, if you do find one dead center, you're gonna third party and then get fourth partied. So,
well, the nice thing is, like you and I have been in this sort of PUBG mobile space for years and stuff like that, and we've seen a lot of metas over the last few years. Like at the very beginning of the game, there's a lot of like M4. We're seeing snipers. You being a coveted sniper, of course, yourself.
Bing, bing.
Only a few people, had that sort of title, like Rain, who used to play on Tempo Storm and stuff like that. Known for being able to snipe. But then it changed to M4 Uzi when Acer, when he was on Misfits, actually hit like a 1v3, I think, on Miramar or something. Absolute insane plays. And then it switched to the UMP with the bullet ammo type change and the damage changes. But I mean, Xtreme Slayers, I mean, they were quiet earlier, but they're picking up some kills now. And YKG finally got the execute off on the Dauntless, getting all 3
Miracle!
Joey picking up all 3 of the kills on Dauntless. That is just, that's definitely an ego boost for sure for Joey. I'm feeling that.
Joey needs it. Joey is like a boxer that's been knocked down a few times lately, and he just needs a good couple fights under his belt to kind of get that confidence back up. And at first I thought it was Miracle that got that wipe, but it was Joey on that off angle. Straight up bodied them. So that's some good points on the board for YKG. Nice little start that they needed. As we take a look at this fight between Black Mamba and Mezexis Blue. Gonna get this res off.
I was thinking, Mezexis had the upper hand. They were having a little bit of a rat play going on like YKG just did, but I mean, Black Mamba being able to hit the 180 and spray him next to the car. still opting to back up. I would like to see Black Mamba actually almost just execute up the hill. Maybe it's a bit too daunting of a task for him. But you know, like it's still the early game. They're fine with, you know, they've had their Star Stellar game with map 1 and stuff like that. You know, they're like, let's not overdo it. Map 2 didn't go that well. Let's just try to get another consistent game going.
That's right. Take the money and run. I gotta ask you a question that you talked about earlier, right? We've seen so many meta shift. Obviously now we're in that M4 DBS meta.
Oh man.
That DBS is coming out hot here, but this is a tense game, right? This is their first big battle against V2.
I mean, this is a very nice choice. I'm not sure. They're pulling up right now, actually. It's just one in the compound. A full slam going on with the next 2 players. But Gio doesn't get sprayed. Spence is going to get found here.
Third partied.
Get the kill. Get the
Spence going for that first. Did he get it? He does. No, actually, he didn't. It was Ghoul. I got that confirmed there from C4. So intense game. Maybe feeling themselves a little too much. Getting bodied out. Oh. Grelin had to hit that. Now it's just Adrian. Done for.
And you know, there's a world where, you know, he hits all of his DBS shots and just completely wipes V2. But I mean, if I'm intense gaming and I'm pulling up like this and wondering, you know, like, why didn't C4 shoot V2? Like, why is my team the only team getting knocked when everyone's in the open? But you know, it's just how it is. It's just how the cards unfold. But I mean, intense game, just you know, a bit of a caster's curse, unfortunately. You know, I like the power, like PV likes to say, but it is what it is with that.
With great power comes great responsibility. An intense game, unfortunately, not gonna have that crazy back-to-back performance. So that just happens. I mean, I think that was a little bit of an ego push. You know, they saw the opportunity, they just were feeling themselves a little itch to get into the action, and then just straight bodied by C4 on that third party. And that's what happens. You know, you got to always make sure you're very, very calculated with these pushes. And Mezexis is looking to do just that against Team Jaguar here. Jaguar with 4 eliminations already. Oh, Victex with a nice opening nade. Not able to catch anything. Oh, but it looks like we do see in the feed, C4 is pushing V2.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice seeing C4. You know, they know that there's probably no other teams. They just wiped the team. What's the chance that no one's there? But, oh my... I mean, I didn't know he was playing football, just running in for the catch with that one. Netflix getting smoked, but, I mean, Jaguar, I think they had won this fight instantly, from what I'd like to say, just with Victex's position alone. They didn't know where he was at, and it allows him to be up and close right next to these Mezexis players, but trying to get some free fires off. Victex going for the shots. It's a 1v1 with the DBS on a window. So much.
Oh, I got him.
Jump shot. And the wipe. Jaguar actually 8 kills, but 2 out of 4 of their players have all of them. 4 and 4.
Crazy.
But, I mean, Preach's only fighting now. Another compound fight. Loops versus YKG. Players that have that sort of mechanics and gun skill to pull off these 1v2s and stuff. But it's 24K versus 2 Loops players. You know, 3 is the magic number with Loops in my eyes. But, oh my!
2014!
Wait, did he get him? He got him? Oh my goodness! I don't even know what to say about that.
I think he kissed that nade and dropped it right there and just ran right by. That was ridiculous. And that 24K, he's got another one.
I think he's going to wipe him with the nade. Oh, maybe not.
Bounce nade? Pre-fire? Oh. Carlos didn't want none of it. Said, nah, fool me once.
Oh my.
Shame on me. See, Ghoul against V2. Here we go. 1v1. Oh, never mind.
Wow.
Goodbye.
Another third party. And this was the third party from earlier. C4, you know, picking up only 2 kills since V2, you know, gone out of the way to go out onto the wall and wipe out the intense gaming players. So really unfortunate for them, only picking up essentially 2 or 3 points for the match.
That is how you do it right there. And we're talking about it, right? I mean, you try to take these fights early on, you get third partied, and then maybe you third party them, but then it's the 4th party coming in. I mean, everyone is just itching to get some of these points. Ghoul just, woo! Did not like the feel of that, but he's going to hold on for now. Next zone coming on up. What do you think about where it lands here, Enigma?
You know, I was feeling, you know, the Dino Park pull, but it just centers straight up onto Loops of all teams. You do not want that team to be center zone having that fights, but Xtreme Slayers, Julian just almost getting his head taken off, you know, and with all these parties going on, I'd like to see some birthday hats added into the game. as a helmet skin or something, because that would be just, can't have a party without balloons and hats.
That's right. You know, and then maybe a little candle on top, so right when you get shot, it lights on fire. You know, that'd be cute. I'd pay for that skin.
That's an idea. A little like
There we
AK
go.
skin or something. You shoot and it gets a little flame going.
Oh man, dude. You know what? PUBG, if you're hearing this, I want my cut.
Yep.
I want my cut. Here we go, Psycho, trying to thread that needle onto Julian. Nice little trades back and forth. Just decides to shoot that window. Interesting play, Enigma.
Yeah, I don't
Shoot
think
that
we're
window
playing.
kill.
I don't think we're playing a game that has wallbang potential, but you know, to each their own, I guess.
All right.
And
Maybe
it's
he's
always a
practicing for a
weird.
future update.
It's always a weird idea because you know we're seeing like intense gaming. You know, level 3 vest, level 2 helmet. But if you're in Xtreme Slayers position, do you really have that sort of gear that you can cycle through that you can replace with taking these early fights? Because I mean, you're not killing the guy there essentially.
That's true.
You're going there just for the damage. And is it really worth for you at this point? Now, obviously, with the DBS meta, you know, it kind of reduces that sort of idea of needing a vest because you're essentially going to get one shot at either way. But
That's a good point. That's something I just constantly question every single time I see those kind of battles happen, because it's just you're losing your resources and you're most likely going to have a gear reduction from getting tapped up a couple times for what? I mean, the chances of you even getting that thirst are like what, 0%?
yeah, essentially. But, you know, there are teams like, you know, Nova Esports and the PL and stuff like that. All those sorts of teams, and Hyper tries to do it a lot. I think they're the best North American team at the moment that tries doing it. Is they'll go for these early fights, and they're not afraid to have his other teammates be driving around ready to slam on the knock. And most people, you know, I think it's just a bit of a mental gap. But, oh, man. And this is the third party. This is the team that third partied their fight. It's a 2v1 in the building. Oh, my.
What? 0 HP?
Smoked some. Well, he had a little bit. But I think it was just a bit of a when we had swapped. But Psycho, you know, I'm surprised he didn't get one tap there. That would have been an insane 1v2 clutch for Intense Gaming if he was able to one tap with that shot. But unfortunately, not. You know, going out a little bit early in this game, having 2 good performances in the first 2 maps. But it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, you hate to see it. Baby Bray needs to get on the move. They have 1 minute left on the clock. Zone does do a nice shift to the southeast side of the map, right on the Tovar. So this is going to be a nice, fun one to see. And you're going to see C4 need to get going. Xtreme Slayers need to get going as well. Jaguar is really set up, right? They're going to have that high ground, middle of the map area. So they got nothing to worry about. Loops. Ayala got some high ground of his own, but he's outside of the circle.
Yeah, and I think Jaguar has one of the better positions in the zone because even though, you know, they're able to rotate out of zone, they're able to kind of third-party these little almost like ant rotates through the buildings these teams have to make into the edge of Tovar, which I believe is in Aton Esports holding the edge of it. So it's a lot of just Jaguar being able to put themselves in positions to pick up these early fights or these early kills on these fights in Tovar. To allow them for a better position in the next zone. Because if you get these early kills, I mean, one less person on each team is always better than none.
That's right. And you see Team Jaguar, you know, with 8 eliminations.
I'm not sure.
Do you have that high ground?
I'm not sure if Poppy thought that was a smoke grenade, but he almost just killed himself with the frag grenade.
Maybe he's looking to kind of pump himself up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, maybe he just gets the adrenaline going.
Sometimes you need it. Sometimes you need it. He's gonna right here because you can see Loops trying to find their way into this next circle. They are completely outside of it.
And notice, you know, there's only 3 of them up, but they're leaving a player out of zone to make sure that they don't get wrapped behind. They don't get just smoked by, I believe it's Vigilante on that southwest side, trying to work in. Definitely in a spot exposed to Loops, but I mean, all these teams, I personally wouldn't like to take this spot whatsoever.
No, it's a really difficult one. I mean, you're going to be completely sandwiched from every single spot. And you can see Cardoso in here trying to get those cheeky nades off. And this is a really tough spot to hit those nades. He's climbing.
He's going up. He's a goat, I guess. But, I mean, if he gets up there, it's over for BLK. And it's just like, what do you even do at this point? Like, you're having to smoke yourself. Your TPP, so you're not able to really even look up to watch over your head. But, I mean, Xtreme Slayers, they're still out of zone here, I think, on the stairwell. Maybe a little bit inside, but, I mean, if you're Aton Esports, as soon as this zone connects and shows the next, you're looking to wipe these teams out, I think.
100%.
Full 4-man, You have 0 kills, and it's just you're needing to just fuel the fire and start going.
Where's that next zone going? Is it gonna center up? Most likely.
Oh!
And it pretty much kind of does a little off center to that right side. And that's going to pretty much land pretty much where everybody is. Aton's going to like that one because they don't got to move too far. But they're going to be holding those buildings for as long as they can.
Yeah, and Jaguar, you know, still has essentially that whole cliffside, I think, that just overlooks everything. And Loops, you know, probably going to have to play a bit of ring around the rosy with Black Mamba, but they do get one, actually, Jaguar picking up the kill just below the Loops player on the mountain. But Loops being able to just live off position alone on the mountain, this could just end up being a 3v3v4 between Aton, Jaguar, and Loops.
Who do you like to win this one? Just looking at it right now.
I'm feeling Jaguar. They have 11 points. We have yet to see really any of them, but they are just, oh man, just picking off everyone one by one.
First they were meow, and now they're meow. You know, they're a little bit more vicious. Look, starting to, hopefully, once they get to top 3, we'll hear the roar, you know? But for right now, they're still meowing.
And,
11 eliminations,
I'm not sure
they're
if
definitely
I'm
heating
wanting
up.
to hear that roar, personally, but, you know, maybe we'll still hear it. Not
I think
sure.
Victix is the one and his teammate. I mean, these guys have got all the eliminations themselves. 6 and 5 sharing. Wow, Xtreme Slayers so close together. Here comes Google.
Oh!
Oh, with the AUG. Now finally switches to the DBS.
He swapped
But I mean, this
the
is just an
nades.
absolute chaos. A war zone right here. He's got the Christmas DBS.
Oh, I
And
thought he just
Julian.
ran by each other. No, it's his own teammate, but I think they have an idea where he's at. They know he's ratting somewhere. Oh, he's gonna go for the jump shot. Oh, wait, he runs by
One
him
more. So lit.
in the smoke.
How is he alive?
Good. 1 HP.
Ah.
UMP.
Psycho jumped the window. He actually vaulted.
Oh,
Takes the shot.
wait.
Sees baby run right on by.
So
And now
1v2 is
Hayuya.
answer. He just hightailed up the hillside. He gets
Psycho!
one. Oh!
Two.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, I got caught right at the end from Aton.
Cue the clown
Wow.
music. Cue the clown music. Don't care. Aton actually down to just one player now. It's a 1v1 with Xtreme Slayers and the Aton member. Oh my goodness. I want to say Jaguar and Loops just absolutely pieced out Aton through windows. Everyone else just decided, hey, I'm going to try to get these points, and then just fell into that pit.
Oh, and there you
That pit.
You just said
Oh,
it.
man.
Look at that. Aton out of there.
I mean, if I'm Joe Hiss at this point, you know, I'm just going to let my teammates take the rest of the kills. You know, they're 5 and 7 already. Just add insult to injury. Be like, you know, I didn't even need to play this game.
Dude, just you're scouting at this point. I'd put my gun down. You know what I'm saying?
Give me the smoke grenades. I'll throw it all
Right.
for you.
That's right. Give me the smokes. Give me the stuns. And I'm gonna be the hero right now. Oh, we saw the Falcon.
Oh,
We saw his Falcon's eye.
feeling it.
That could be good. Oh, just a little short. Little short.
But I'm wondering, you know, one of the loose players actually dropped down off the mountain. I would have liked to see if he could. Oh, never mind. I was thinking, you know, there might be a world away where he could get on top of that mountain and actually
Not gonna
overlook Jaguar, but there's no way. And unfortunately, Cartizan, I think he's gonna have to eat zone and just rotate around to his teammates. But looks like he might just be going for the solo 1v1
Oh my
onto,
gosh.
I believe it's Joe Hiss on top of the mountain, or Victex
Right.
on top of the mountain. So it's gonna be essentially a 2v2 and a 1v1 going on.
It's basically a 2v3 right now because Joe hasn't got one elimination. You
Yeah,
know,
I guess you're right about that.
but maybe he might pick up one right here. But you know what they do have? They have the zone. So it's really a true 3v3, you know?
Yeah, they
We'll
got
see.
the zone with them.
Joe,
I mean,
can he hit
some of
one?
them have nades as well. And it's
Look how much
always...
ammo he has.
Oh, he's going for it. Oh, crouch! Oh, my
Oh, that's a
goodness.
lot of his ammo. He's only got 32 shots left. He don't need it, though. Simple steals that elimination. Joe says, come on, bro. Let me get one. Let me get one. If
It's
a nade hits
Chief.
Chief, that's it.
Oh, the 1v1, though.
Gordosin.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, one more
Cardozo
shot.
actually might have just saved Chief here.
Joe has.
Chief. Oh,
got one.
Joe's got one.
He got one. He got Chief.
1v2. He's going for the 1v1. Carson. Oh,
Got him.
insane. Oh, man. Insane win out of Jaguar, though. I think it was, what, a total of 25 at the end of my maths, right? Don't quote me. I wasn't that good at math, but, you know,
Hey,
I always love
beautifully
seeing
done.
it.
Yeah, beautifully done for them. I mean, they got a really good position right there at the end game. They got some really solid eliminations, and then that zone just locked onto them, and they got the dub. But a huge, big props, right? You got to give it to Victex and team because you're really just putting up those big points at the start. And they needed them. They really needed them, right? I mean, game 3 is a good time to really get it done. They got one more left today to really just kind of punch their ticket into the next stage.
Well, and then the next thing, is just Loops. They weren't a team that had that early center spot. They were a team that, played it correctly. They left a player outside of zone, allowed them to get that early mountain position in the center. And then, unfortunately, zone rotated off them. But, they're probably happy with that performance from themselves.
Heck, I mean, what is that? 8 eliminations. I got to talk to Reflections. Brother, how do you feel about Loop's finish right there with second place?
Yeah, I mean, Loops, not bad at all. That's my team, right? When I'm always going to support them. And I got to be honest, I've been disappointed in their lackluster performance at Game 1, Game 2. But Game 3, they showed what they were all about. I know, Hot Jukes, it's hard to say. It's hard to say, but I got to be realistic. That's why I'm up here, right? The Team Jaguar, I'm happy to see them actually at the top. They've been a bit of the middle of the pack when it came down to the rankings. I say middle of the pack, actually. Let me be respectful. Top 5. After all, they could very well be jumping up the leaderboard after such a successful game. Not to quote you, Enigma, but, maybe 20 or so points. But that's the first time, at least in Season 2 Titan Series, we've seen Jaguar get a win. So, Neptura, Jaguar, looking solid. Maybe this is going to be their come up.
It'd be great if we could see that. We haven't seen all that much of them, like you were saying, so far this season. It would be really nice if they use this win to go, oh, listen, we actually can do this. And let's go into that Erangel guns blazing. It's always so nice when you've got these kind of different maps like Sandhawk, like Vikendi, because they're anomaly maps. And a team that has been struggling up to that point can come out and get that win and just get a little bit of that morale back up and running. So it is really nice to see them able to do that. But my God, that nade was insane. YKG just going down there to Loops. And it's nice to see Loops back in the game as well, finally. They've been so quiet the last couple of games, and certainly I think last week as well. So need them coming back at it.
It is, and by the way, Hot Jukes, I loved your commentary there with Enigma because it just seemed like every single time you guys would go into caster mode, right? Then you would also break kind of character and be spectator mode, just screaming with the action, screaming because you're like, whoa, I can't believe that just happened. There were so many good moments. What kind of moments stand out to you from game number 3?
Obviously, that nade was insane. I mean, seeing 2 players from Team Jaguar just absolutely pop off was great as well. I think we're starting to see these Brazilian teams and international squads really step up here, especially here in this weekend. NA and Hyper, YKG, a little bit quiet, a little bit too quiet for me.
Yeah, quiet indeed. Black Mamba, who took game number 1, 6th place here in map number 3. But yeah, the big thing, intense game, 8th place, Enigma. We talk about a pop-off world record game, it seems, right? From 4,000 plus damage, 30 plus points in map 2 to map 3. Only 3 points.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, they say 0 to hero, but this was 0 to 0 with that game. Really just unfortunate to see Neptura, just got to knock on wood or something next time we say intense gaming for the map.
To be fair, I said it too. I was right there with you, Neptura.
Yeah, I mean, that was very unfortunate. It just keeps happening, You're right, Enigma. What is it with the double predictions just killing these teams?
I'm enjoying the power. That's all I got
Oh
to say.
my God!
Wow, 2nd place for Jaguar, Hot Juke. So, I mean, today has not been anything but like normal. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, this is crazy. Team Jaguar heard that door open from Hyper having a bad performance in this Vikendi, rocket launching themselves up to do. There's one more game left. And we see a crazy pop off here. It's gonna be close.
It is. It's going to be close indeed. And the fact that we already have, 1-2 more weeks left for at least to gather up these points. So Hyper's position is starting to be threatened quite a bit. Now, granted, can they break 100 points today? That was my question after they had such a successful game number 1, 3rd place with that 1v2, and they really popped off. But can they continue to do well? Well, that's the question they're going to have to answer anyways, and we're just going to have to watch and see if it happens. That's kind of the way that it goes. Hot Jukes, though, always great listening to you, brother. And I got to ask you, man, there was a moment where I saw some body shots finally. All right, I've been waiting. I'm like, PUBG Mobile players, they're just way too polite to each other. You know, they're always just being nice. But no, finally some body shots happen. It seems like week 2, season 2, brother, like things are starting to heat up a bit.
I'll tell you what, I mean, you have every right to shoot crates when you're going against the team that's in last place. All right? Execute. What's going on, guys? All right? Lil Six is on the squad. You got Juancho, the legend, as well. Currently in last place. Can't happen again. Hopefully that I think it was some shots to not just let them know who's boss, but to hopefully motivate them, right? To say, you know what, guys? Is this who you are? And hopefully they bounce back here in the last game.
We'll have to see if they do. Motivation in the form of brutality. Honestly, It works sometimes. I've done the basic training. I was in the Army, and you know what? Drill sergeants weren't nice all the time, but I learned my lesson, and I got better really quick at what I needed to do, okay? But Enigma C4, they also performed very well as we go into Erangel, the map that C4 actually didn't play too well on. That's where we saw Black Mamba really pop off. After watching C4 do as well as they did in map 3, what are we expecting from them going into the final map?
Well, you know, I'm not too sure, to be honest. They've been kind of, you know, low-key on Vikendi and Erangel. And, you know, Erangel's the last map we're playing. We're going to really need to see some of these teams pick it up if they're really wanting to have a safe position in playing in that finals portion of this tournament.
That's a fact. And C4, I know that's one team that you were constantly popping up. Neptura, how do you think they're going to do in map 4? And honestly, who do you expect to finish off the day with a victory?
Oh, that's again another hard one. I kind of want to say N Hyper are going to be coming back and going, no, we're not leaving that. We're going to get those 100 points. We're definitely making sure no one passes us. You know, with 1 week left, it's going to be a little bit dicey after tonight to really get those points on the board. So, yeah, I'm kind of looking at N Hyper for this one, honestly.
N Hyper. Well, you know, they had a great game 1. We're going back to that same very map. See if N Hyper can do it. They're, 6 points away, if I'm not mistaken, to get to 100. Enigma, I would like to know, though, your prediction and why are you predicting who you're predicting?
I gotta go with a little bit of a lifeline for Execute. It's gotta be Execute Gaming, you know.
Yeah.
They've been struggling. They haven't had the kills. The placement has been, I could see the ideas there, but they're still just not adapting to the kills. I'd like to see them just, you know, just send it, you know, go against the wall and just really try to go against the grain on their own playstyle and try to adapt to these other teams that they're fighting against.
Adaptability, Hot Jukes, you were even, you know, kind of pumping up, or not even pumping up and asking the question, Execute, what's going on? Because they sit at the very bottom of the leaderboard that was owned once before by Black Mamba at the start of the day. Now Execute, they have it 14 points, man. That's not a lot. So question to you, do you go with Execute?
I would go with Execute this one. And you know what? I'm going to, because why not? They definitely need a little bit of love their way. But my original pick, right, I would have been YKG. And the only reason why I said that was because we saw Joey, right, get a nice squad wipe by himself. And I need to see some Joey love here soon, right? Same way would it be from Execute. So I'm gonna kind of be a little bit biased and pick both right now. All right. I want to see both teams have a nice little top 3 finish.
Is that allowed production? Can we do a prediction
Double
with both
pick.
teams?
Double pick.
Okay, we're gonna do a tumble pick. That's okay, because I think Mustache Dave did it last week, so we'll allow you to do it, Hot Jukes, this time around. Okay, so that's fair enough. I like it. I can't say no to that smile. Come on, it's gorgeous. But hey, for me, honestly, I'm look at that. It makes me melt every time, man. Even though you talked about my love handles last week, don't do that again.
Hey, I said, if you got love handles, I got love motorcycles. All right, brother. All right, that's how we do it here.
I love you to death. I really do. You're wonderful, man. I'm going to Tone. I think they're going to take it because they've been so consistent. And even though maybe game 3 wasn't as good as they wanted it to be, I think they're going back to a map they were great on from map number 1, and they're going to look just as solid. So Aton, who haven't, got a win just yet, that's only been shared by a couple of teams. I think Aton is going to be my roster to take the final game of today. But a lot of storylines, right? In Hyper. Will In Hyper be able to, they're going to hold on the first, I'm fairly confident, but will they be able to break 100? Will Team Jaguar keep the second place spot? Maybe so. Will Aton be able to hold down third, or will they get the victory here or, fall out? I don't know. But what I do know for certain, though, is Game 4 is about to get started. It's going to be Erangel. We're going back. Who's going to finish off the night strong? Well, let's find out. Powerbang Enigma, take it away.
Excited for this one, guys. We have an interesting leaderboard shaking up. Enigma, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about what we're seeing. And, you know, a couple sneaky ones I want to point out. In 5th place right now, I don't know if I would have predicted this, but YKG. That is somebody we haven't seen really doing much, but somehow, some way, they're in striking distance. 47 points. They're one good game away from a 2nd place right now. So Enigma, do you think they have it in them to put something together here in this 4th game?
Yeah, I mean, they definitely do. Unfortunately, today has been a lot of, just underperformance. We're seeing, some, like the Vikendi game, Hot Cheeks and I seeing basically 24K dropping a nade at his feet like he's playing with Martyrdom or something. And getting the knock on loops, but they're really needing to piece this together and play as a team. We're seeing the individual plays with Dauntless getting wiped by Joey. We're seeing 24K getting 1 to 2 knocks on loops. It's just we're needing all 4 players to perform and succeed. So I mean, it's kind of up, in their eyes and their mental game, I guess you could say, if they're really able to perform themselves.
Unfortunately, no Martyrdom perk available in this game. 24K, you'll have to catch us next time for that. Another team I wanted to kind of talk about a little bit, started off pretty strong. It was actually Reflection's pick for the first game today. That's V2 Esports. Again, day 1 of week 1 here. Really kind of a sneaky 2nd place, kind of quiet, but just like creeping into those top 2 or 3 spots almost every game. And this week, they've fallen off a little bit, slipping down to 9th place right now, sitting at 37 points overall. V2, I'm not sure what's going on there, but they've got to pick things up a little bit. I think they've got the talent, but ultimately have to make some better decisions. I think Erangel is the place to kind of course correct for some teams that may not have it going for them, because it's the tried and true. Everyone's got a ton of experience on this map, and you've got your patterns, right, that you like to play in, and hopefully they can put some momentum together. So I'm hearing we're just about ready to lock in our 4th and final game of week 2. Enigma, I hope you're ready, man, because we have a good one in store for us. Call it now. I want to hear your final circle prediction. Where's it going to end?
I like military zones. No one likes it. No comp player likes it, but it always just serves, the bridge fights, the boatations. It's got it all.
I couldn't agree more, my friend. I love me a little military circle. I am here for it. If I'm gonna take a pick, I'm gonna go with a toxic shelter finish, above ground, below ground, vehicles blocking the exits, the whole 9 yards. I'm picking shelter. But anyway, as far as predictions for this one, I have not levied my opinion just yet to see who we can throw the curse upon. But I'm liking intense game for this one. I'm not going to pick them, though. I'm going to go with Jaguar for the back-to-back. They looked really strong last game. Jukes would have to point out Johis, but I think he's going to turn it around, man. He's going to put up some elims this game. That's what I'm thinking. Who are you going with, Enigma?
Well, I had said earlier, I was really just feeling, I think I said, it was Execute. That was who it was, because, they've been struggling the last 2 weeks. We're needing the kills out of them. They do drop on that northwest side of the map, I believe, so this plane path isn't helping my prediction whatsoever. For Millie, though, it does look good, but, I was kind of getting a little bit worried. Maybe we were going to skip the PB predictions. I was about to have to ask you myself, but, we're just seeing a little bit of an easy plane drop going on over shelter, so there's the possibility of people just dropping shelter and just, maybe they just never leave the bunkers. Maybe they just never
I would recommend leaving. I mean, there's loot, but there's only so much, maybe go out and explore the world a little bit. We did see that hard, plane path down south in the first Erangel game today, and then a super hard shifted northern zone. We'll see if that happens again here, as we do have a fairly southern plane path as teams start to dive in on this one. Loops again, going to that military island. And I'm curious, it looks like V2 might be in there with them. I'm looking at the map. I see a couple different colors there. What do you think?
Yeah, and I mean, it's not just there. We're looking at Novo. We're looking at, possibly a shelter fight. But, I mean, it's already going in with V2 and Loops. We're seeing, oh, man, Ayala getting essentially one-tapped, I think, from a DVS. Losing the 1v1. You hate seeing that. But Blabo holding, a pretty good angle, I think. Goes for the pre-fire. Doesn't connect the shots. That I don't think Spence has a helmet, so that could just be an instant one-tap with the AK. Kind of the beauty of
no helmet, no vest here at all.
kind of the beauty of these early game fights is, even if you have a gun that you don't like using, it's still usable. Now unfortunately, they might just get lucky and find essentially a crate in one room with level 3 vest and helmet, but that's a few and far between for you really experiencing that. But someone getting, oh man, Desert Eagle off drop.
I don't know if you're watching the kill feed. It's there's some shenanigans going on right now. We've got Execute in it with YKG, and YKG's exotic just ran over Sixless. So shenanigans for sure.
Yeah, and I mean they've been haunting Execute. That first game they didn't get to, or the third game they didn't get to Dobro in time to third party both teams fighting, but this time just taking the fight to him and Lippo. Oh man. Another pistol knock, a little bit more unfair because it's 3 of them coming up the steps, but Aton just getting some freebies right now off drop at this compound.
Aton literally lined up their entire team and was like, you know what? I'm not going up the stairs by myself. I need some company, and it was actually a pretty smart move. All of the fights happening early on in this one, not exactly with the guns these players might favor. As you were mentioning, we've seen some Desert Eagles in the mix, some pump shotties, a little bit of Uzi action, and even some fists to finish things off here, conserving that ammunition. But chaos early in the battlegrounds. Bope, our first team, eliminated in this one. They go out early on in 16th place, but several other teams also missing members, most notably Execute here, sitting in the last spot in the lobby, and they're not doing anything here to turn their fortunes around.
I thought it'd be a bit of reverse psychology, like their last place. What's the chance that the caster's curse actually affects them? But, maybe it's just their overall performance leading to this sort of result. No kills. We're down to just one player. I'm not sure which player that is, but Spence running onto the nade. Doesn't hear the nade get pulled by Cartizan, and I'm expecting loops. Yeah, they're sending it. They're going for this play. They actually knocked another as well while the nade knock happened. So I think it's just a 4v2 or a 3v2 right now in Millie.
Interesting play here from V2. Really nice job to throw the molly behind him to flush him out of that spot, but doesn't have the ranged weapon to finish the fight here. Guapo holding strong right now. Out the window. We'll see if he can make some magic happen here. Short-handed, trying to protect his teammates, getting between the enemy and them so they can get that revive off. And it looks like he's done just that. Gonna go for the confirm here potentially and rack up a few more points for V2.
Yeah, that knock on a Chief was just, really just a saving grace for V2. Thankfully, Guapa, I believe it was, hitting the nade onto the wall. The molly, like you said, definitely played a huge part in that. But Loops now on the back foot, they let him get the reset onto V2. Looks like they're going to just let him get the full healing reset. If they have heals, actually, it looks like V2's actually still just going to be fighting. And this can go either way, PB. I mean, they've got the DBS, they've got the M7. It's a matter of who hits who first in this situation. Oh, but
and Luke strikes first. Interesting. Low heals. Literally, these guys cannot get patched up right now. V2, both of them sitting at about 15-20% health. And that looks about all they're going to have to continue this fight, whereas Loops is at full health.
Yeah, and I feel V2, you might almost just calm, just to either full send it up the steps if he's upstairs, or just tuck tail and run. Try to play out the game. You're one of those teams that's really wanting to secure themselves up into that top 8. They're more in that middle ground grouping. We're definitely needing to see a choice made shortly, because you're not wanting to leave Loops up to their own thoughts, because they are definitely going to be a team that can capitalize on you.
I definitely feel like V2 is obviously trying to get out of here. If they're forced to fight, they can. Ultimately, all it takes for them is to find one health med kit. So if they can get back into the fight with at least 75 HP, I think they can shoot their way to victory here. But they're not trying to bite off more they can chew here. You can see Juanjeda does not have much health left. He's got a little bit left of that boost ticking, but ultimately going to leave him around 20 HP. Definitely needs to do a bit more. We got multiple teams, Enigma, popping off here early. This has been a super active start of this game. 3 different teams right now already at 600 damage or more. And that is quite interesting here in stage 1 to be getting into that type of action.
Yeah, I mean, we can see on the right side, thankfully with the active player scoreboard and stuff like that, we could see who all is taking damage, who all is alive. And I mean, we're seeing, XQ is one of those teams, like we had said, lost players early. Xtreme Slayers and Bope already out, and we're just up to this V2 and Loops fight. So everyone else, I think, they're not really caring what's going on in Millie. They know that these two teams fight. And they're like, well, we'll keep track of how many players they have, but we're going to just be playing our game. We're going to be worrying about the teams with 4 players up, not just 1 or 2.
Good news for Loops, though, is that Xtreme Slayers is out. There was a 3-way tie at 41 points coming into this game with Xtreme Slayers, C4 Esports, and Loops all sitting at 41. Looks like Loops does get knocked there as we kind of leave that fight. That leaves him with just 1 player left. We'll go back and check that out here. Partisan is the last remaining hope, and it seems as though they know exactly where he is. So he's going to try to make some magic happen here as the blue zone comes in, and he is unable to. Cardozan out of here, and just like that, we have another team eliminated.
Yeah, that fight could have definitely gone poorly for V2, because if we're looking at Loops in that situation, they had Bellado on the steps, being able to look onto the roof towards the V2 player, but thankfully he was proning, he was playing the other side of the building. But that ultimately leaves it up for Cardozan taking that 1v1 outside. Unfortunately he lost it at the end there, but Loops had a 30-second window, I'd want to say, of them actually being in an advantageous position of taking that fight. Now, unfortunately, they gave him a little bit too much time. The other V2 player actually found a med kit, which you were noting earlier. He actually had found one and healed, getting the knock without taking damage, and ultimately just led his team to actually winning that fight in melee.
Yeah, I felt like V2 was just trying to find a way to reset long enough to find some heals, and if they could do it, they were down to take the fight. I felt like they had a bit of momentum. They had Loops pinned, but just weren't feeling confident trying to get in there, knowing that they could only take like 1, maybe 2 bullets. And, yeah, ultimately they found the medkit, got a little bit lucky, and I think they'll take it as the zone starts to center up over South Georgia Pole right now, and the ruins, Mount Everest, dead center of the zone. And I love what Intense Game is doing, locking up that position. They haven't gotten on the board just yet, but here we have the bridge camp in full effect. Wancho getting caught. That is the final player of Execute, and they're out of the lobby. Beautiful job here from Hyper.
Yeah, and Hyper, I'm not sure. I don't think Execute knew where the zone is at, because I don't think you're supposed to drive out of zone, PB. But
it seems like the wrong way.
Yeah,
right?
I'm not
a little counterintuitive.
I'm not the one giving him the call-outs, but I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to be driving towards the other zone. But Hyper, one of those teams that does notice the kill feed, and they were planning this. They know it's going to be max 2, maybe 3 players coming across the bridge. We had seen Dauntless when they had shown the map screen being a full 4-man, but I say that Joey forcing himself into a 1v1. Fishy getting smoked with the Bison, not one of the better guns. Illusion caught out healing, and Joey's feeling it in these last 2 games. Total of 5
He really
kills.
is. Yeah, Joey's looking a little bit like Joey of old. He's kind of been in a little bit of a slump as over the past week or 2. Nothing crazy. He's not playing awful by any means, but there was a period of time, over the last month where he was just a monster. And seems like he's picking up some of those old habits right now, winning those 1v2s. And Joey, again, has YKG out into a good spot. They're already over 1,000 damage for the game, sitting at 1158. 4 players left alive here, which is huge. As we shift our attention over to Intense Game. Again, love what they've got with the high ground here, and if the zone continues to center up, this is going to be a really tough position to overtake.
Yeah, with the mountain, it's definitely one of those spots. It's kind of a double-edged sword, because you're isolated up on top of the mountain. If it shifts off of you, every team's going to be looking at you. Your cars are essentially going to get blown up if you drive down it. But if it shifts to you, that's where it could be, it could be the money. It could be the little cash cow, whatever you want to call it, for points, for you to be able to, shooting yourself up the leaderboard.
It's kind of a tough spot, too, because, unless somebody comes up to challenge you, you're not looting. So you better take a lot of bullets up there if you're trying to, spend the majority of the game on top of the mountain. But as we talk about that, YKG coming up to see if this position is available, and they learn very quickly that they've got company here. And just like that, Miracle connects. Beautiful shots there. Nice little headshot onto Intense Game.
Yeah, Joey's already pushed up too. He has his own car, so he just drives it past his teammate. That little, jump frog of having one person stop, overwatch, next person goes ahead, and you just start taking all of this ground. But a big nade, maybe doing a little bit of damage. Ain't taking any sort of damage, but Joey, given the overwatch, his teammates pulling up further ahead now, taking those ones. And see, Intense Gaming, I think, is going to be getting wiped to the Bison of all guns.
Wow!
Headshot. Joey's ripped.
This is an impressive push.
Oh my goodness, it's just 1-up on Intense Gaming. YKG has yet to lose even a single player, and Joey just 2 out of those 4. Holy. 17 kills. They're up to 10, PB.
Goodness. That was insane. They pushed up the mountain. I was just talking about how difficult it might be to overtake that position, and they made it look easy. Young Kings lose almost no hit points as they wipe one of the most powerful teams in the lobby right off the map. So incredible push from YKG. Now it's up to them to try to hold this position, but off to an incredible start right now. 10 elims early on in this one.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a big mental boost for them because, you know, it's like Intense Gaming. Pretty decent game 1. Game 2 was a slaughter. Now, obviously, game 3 was a bit of a blimp in the radar for Intense Gaming on the day, but YKG, you know, they're feeling it themselves too. They're like, hey, we'll take the action to you. The absolute beam onto the Intense Gaming player up in front. That's not what you want, you know, like he's definitely kicking himself for that because you're having to be that player that stays alive, putting that pressure down. And if you're knocked first, I mean, it's over. Leaves everything open.
Really does. Nova getting into it now with Mezexis and Hyper, rather. I still want to call them Nova. Kind of Nova.
Still Nova in my hearts.
Yeah, right?
Always believe it.
Kindness and GK in right now, and those two guys are absolute studs. I did see Chiffon is suiting up as well. And then we had Koi in the lineup tonight as well. And, you know, these aren't necessarily tryouts per se, but, you know, when you've got players dialing in from out of region at 5, 6 in the morning their time, that's, I mean, I don't blame them for taking a break and rotating some other people in. Here's the look back at YKG's push. Just look at the gunplay by Joey here. Alternating weapons, connecting, and just wiping these guys out. Incredible stuff from YKG.
Yeah, and I mean, the pre-firing with it too, but oh my goodness, Skipper getting beamed out of the car. Dauntless losing it virtually every player. It's just Klaus left in his car, and Hyper dealing with some shenanigans themselves on the south side. They were the team that decided to bridge camp loops. They did pick up a few kills, or I believe it was V2 on the bridge, and a few Dauntless players. So they did put themselves in this edge position, but, you know, and Hyper is the kind of team that they're prepared to take these sort of late game edge zone fights, not just be that center zone oriented team.
YKG already dead center in this one. Still going to probably leave Miracle up on this mountainside for visibility. They have eyes on everything right now from up there, so really strong position from them. And then obviously Joey is eyeballing this compound right now.
Oh,
Mezexis hiding and catches 24K off guard, and now Joey answers back.
Yeah, Joey, I mean, feeling himself. Unfortunately, they lost a player, but notice the timing, PB. We have N Hyper. As soon as the zone shifted, they take this fight with Mezexis, and Mezexis was playing a greedy split, having a solo on that north compound that was virtually center. YKG recognizing, you know, hey, there's only one car here. I doubt there's multiple players, but Netflix getting the nade knock. Oh my goodness. And he gets ran over.
Bro.
Snail's pace. I don't know how that's a knock, but I mean, hey, N Hyper getting a great position in my eyes. Even though it's edge zone, just off of a buggy run overkill.
Man, I think that might have been Netflix. I missed who it was from Mezexis, but it was like almost like he had to go watch some Netflix, maybe catch some dinner or something. He was like completely out of the way, saw that car coming, and just dove in front of that bus, man. That, I don't know what that was, but he had somewhere to be, and it wasn't on the battleground. So Mezexis out of here, and Hyper getting into it with them once again. Several fights now between those two squads have popped off so far. And I absolutely agree with the split was greedy. There's only a couple of strong positions in this zone, and they were trying to occupy both of them with still like 10 teams left in the lobby. So that's a difficult one for sure. Is Aton now moving up to the top of the mountain, and YKG has moved out for the most part. So we'll see if they can catch anybody on the bases of each of these sides of the mountain. Let's see if Milos can get that gun firing up.
Yeah, I mean, Aton, I'd almost be kind of questioning, like, what happened up here? There's no one on top of Mount Everest. I mean, Black Mamba we had seen actually holding the bottom side of the mountain. I'm not too much of a fan of that, you know. But Aton, you know, having to essentially clear all of this out, they're going to realize, I think, soon enough that, hey, you know, no one's up here. These people fought early. But Black Mamba just being a little snakes on a mountain, I guess, trying to, I think, just wait out the zone, and then I'd expect them just to be full sending in next. If it shifts onto the compound, take that 4v4, but it's just a little bit of an interesting position in my eyes.
They're going unconventional, right? It's a counterintuitive play. We're just going to hide in the low ground, hopefully out of sight of everyone. And we'll see if they're spotted out by anybody. Klaus actually has sight lines onto them right now if he looks that direction, but he might be thinking, who would ever even be over there? I don't know. You also have Mel, potentially, you can see them. Butterfly effect here. It's about to get real, though. 30 seconds here till this next circle shifts, and I expect some teams to be on the move. You can see YKG took over that compound. Seems to be a pretty safe bet for right now. And there's Aton. They did find Kubi out and take him down. That's a long old shot. We'll see how long that actually clocks in at here shortly.
Yeah, I mean, Butterfly Effect looking more like Sharks going for this kill on Dauntless, but you really hate to see Kubi getting caught out like that, stopping in virtually the middle of the open. You know,
387 meters on that one.
Jeez. Yeah, that's,
Lasered.
you know, check the device, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's the render distance, that guy's got the best of the best seeing that, you know, and he's hitting those shots, but, you know, Aton gets the zone shift a little bit, centers up just north of the YKG compound, and all these teams like Hyper, Jaguar, they're going to have to make this sort of suicide dive almost into one of these compounds.
They better have some smokes, man. This is a very gross circle right now. There's a few trees to hide behind, but for the most part, everything wide out in the open with the exception of this compound that YKG is currently sitting in. Good news for some of the other teams. They only have 3 defenders right now, so there's a shot, right? Somebody could crash on it, but there's a lot of teams left up in a small zone here to really be crashing onto a compound because everyone's got to basically run in as quickly as possible if that's the case. So YKG may have the best position right now locked up, but it remains to be seen what happens. 3 teams still left at full strength, one of them being Nova, and they're crashing onto Butterfly Effect to finish the job here.
Yeah, I mean, making moves is definitely an easy way of putting it because they are just absolutely slaughtering Butterfly Effect right now. Canceled the res off. He must have had only a second or so left on that, but James, 1v4, I'm not seeing it in any world. Every single person's got a nade out, and they're wiped. So, and Hyper finding themselves a way to get into zone. I was expecting them to take the YKG fight. And Hyper, it looks like they're going to actually be taking the fight to Black Mamba, maybe.
Oh, this is interesting. I thought they were going to be happy to take this position and hold it. And they move out immediately getting knocked here. I don't know if that was the right call to be that aggressive. Chiffon caught out by Black Mamba and quickly finished. Nova Hyper down to 3 players, one of which is barely clinging on to life.
Yeah, and I mean, with that, it had to have just been a timing thing. Maybe they didn't hear the car and said, hey, we need someone on this mountain. And right as he pulled up, you know, they had pulled up, Black Mamba had pulled up. So, you know, really unfortunate to see, but Jaguar really trying to figure out what they're going to do in this zone. They're running out of time. Joe has already knocked. It's just 3 players just doing a little donuts, a little laps around their own compound, but that's going to be out of zone soon, PB.
That's all you need sometimes, some donuts, you know. Just spin them. Spin them. Just put that rubber into the grass, spin some circles, all good. Jaguar down to 1 member. He's got to try to clutch it out. That is going to be a tough one, though. See who that happens to be.
Looks like he's got a buggy, so not the worst situation just yet. It's not like he's running in, but, you know, I'm not seeing a world where he's actually able to get in himself.
Zone now starting to be a bit of a factor. Simple still up right now from Jaguar. Seba is going to go out as well to the play zone. So Jaguar down to 1 player remaining, but I think they're going to be decently happy with the placement they're getting here. Again, trying to fend off some of these other teams from taking a number 2 position over them. But look at this. Aton takes him out of the vehicle. And I will say something notable right now is, you know, Jaguar is out of here in 5th spot. 5 points total added to their 62. The interesting thing, though, is they're trying to fend off the likes of Aton and YKG. So YKG sitting in 5th place coming into this game, as we kind of discussed. And then we have Aton Esports in 3rd place. Both have put up big numbers right now. So shifts on the leaderboard potentially inevitable here.
Yeah, I mean, the leaderboard is what decides everything at the end of the day. And, I mean, this zone shift might be helping some of these other teams. And Hyper's probably going to be reaching over the 100-point mark, I'd want to say, with his positioning and the few kills they already have. Black Mamba, though, in a position. The key thing to note here is that YKG, before the zone shift, was looking to fight Aton Esports on the mountain, keep them back. But with Zfon dying, on that western side, GK is not able to rotate out and catch out the YKG members on the open hillside. So thankfully, you know, the zone shift closed down onto them. They're not needing to make some sort of execute play onto the YKG compound. But I mean, everything's a butterfly effect. If you get one person killed, it doesn't allow you to do something as extreme as you want to. Thankfully for them, they don't have to make that sort of dive play onto the YKG compound. But Aton's now having to do that.
Hey, I gotta say, Black Mamba, their hide at the bottom of the mountain play, it seems to have paid off for now. They're the only team with 4 players left up. Only 1 elim so far, but they're moving into these final circles with confidence. And I gotta say, Black Mamba, they're pushing for potentially another chicken dinner here, even though all players right now seemingly in danger.
And, you know, I really hate to see it, but Joey, you know, the hard carry on this team right now, really feeling it, getting knocked, trying to get an off angle for his team. He definitely was needing that to allow his team to possibly win the game out. But unfortunately,
Joey's rocking 8 elims right now by himself.
Oh, man, the Kobe. Yeah, YKG, unfortunately, you know, just getting pieced out by a few misplays, a few outplays, I guess you could say as well. But, I mean, it's just Miracle. What's the chance he hits a 1v3?
He's looking for a miracle here, 100%. He's trying to live up to the name. Got Leon up the hill. It's good split here. That's one thing Aton does very well, is when they've got somebody on the ropes, they've always got Milos out wide. They keep a pretty good spread and make it very difficult from an angles perspective to actually win the fight. You might get one knock, as you're seeing here, but ultimately just going to get earholed by someone else. Leon finishing the job. And that is that for YKG. They're out of here, but 16 points on the board. They'll take it. It's not going to be enough to catch Aton, though, who has 13 points already, and they're still in the running for that chicken dinner.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of a lackluster performance, but YKG definitely stepped up this game, and GK hitting a double knock with a nade. And, you know, with the Miracle fight going on, I would have liked to see him almost take the 1v1 with Leon on top of the hill and kind of pull a little backstab move and play on top of the hillside, give up the compound, but unfortunately they fished him out before he could make that sort of play. And while that was going on, Hyper wiping out Black Mamba of all teams, a team that, you know, had 4 up, had a pretty good positioning in zone, but unfortunately just getting outplayed by Hyper.
This is pretty crazy. We got 2 giants in the lobby right now going at it. Hyper trying not to go over on the day as far as chicken dinners are concerned, picking up 3. In week 1, they're looking for their first here in week 2. Again, a commanding lead in the overall standings, but trying to further stretch that lead right now. And they start off with a bit of a knock here. Leon knocked and finished. It's a 3v2. And now it is up to Milos to hopefully clutch things out for Aton. He's got Connor as well there to support him.
Yeah, I mean, GK, I'm wondering if Hyper's going to take the idea of, you know, let's wait for next zone and just play the zone shift, or if we're looking, you know, let's keep looking for this opening knock and then take the 1v3. Because essentially, let's say if Connor gets knocked almost by the nade, if one of them gets knocked, the buggy gets pulled up and you're getting scouted out. And unfortunately, not many people are going to be beaming you out of a buggy when you crest over a hill while their 2 teammates are coming after you. So definitely a bit of an interesting spot for Aton. Hopefully they can find either a knock or some sort of zone pull into their favor. Possibly even on the road would be good.
Great angles here, though, from Hyper. You can see they have everything kind of locked down. Koi shifting to get more into the circle. They got GK first out wide right now, making any sort of wraparound basically impossible without him calling it out and spotting it. And Koi is going to try to get lucky here with some grenades. He's got 4 of them left in his bag. He's got a few to throw. Kindness has got a couple as well. So this is an interesting one. We see the 2-1 split here. I'm curious to know if Connor saw GK first go out to the left and if they know he is there, or if this is going to be a complete surprise maneuver. They know he's there now. Shots are in from GK first.
I'd like to say that he maybe had seen the car, but maybe he was focusing on this eastern side more of the zone. But I'm with Aton. It's really just a matter of, you know, where does the zone end? If it goes north, you know, you're screwed. If it goes west into GK, you're having to deal with 2 snakes next to you. But there is a world still, of course, where Aton, you know, hits their shots. They come out guns blazing.
Yeah.
And Hyper, you know, they could be a team that makes that mistake. Let's say it shifts outside to GK. Those players are going to have to be running in from zone, and that's a possible chance for you to knock them, leaving yourself into essentially 1v1s on the mountainside. So a lot of it's just, you know, how these players choose to play. But Kindness,
it's done.
hitting the Kobe, and I'm expecting someone to possibly drive up, but it just looks like they're going to send it pushing the right side so GK can actually overwatch him while he peeks. good stuff from them, and it's just like
yeah, really fundamental there.
That's the opening knock. It's a 1v1, but doesn't matter, unfortunately. And Hyper slaughtering this lobby, PB.
Man, incredible stuff from Hyper. They will not go out without a fight today, Enigma. They pick up their first chicken dinner of the day off of the back of a really big performance by Kindness. He got 8 elims himself to match Joey's 8 from over on YKG. A really exciting matchup overall there. Really loved how NHP controlled the circle at the end there. They moved up to kind of control the center. They got the angles. And they really had Aton pinched so that anywhere that zone went, even if it was given to Aton, there was nowhere to go, and they knew exactly where those players were hiding. Made it really easy to drop those nades right on top of their heads at the end of the game. But really impressive stuff from them. I'll go ahead and throw it back to the desk. We can wrap things up here for week 2 in the Titan series. Really incredible week, though, so far. Intense game, though. I gotta tip my cap to them after that second game. That was bananas. Anyway, Taylor, take it away.
Yeah, tip your cap to intense game. That was a wonderful game, a record-breaking game, but then where were they, right? In games 1, 3, and 4, that's my question. Inconsistencies, hot and cold. Maybe that's what intense game is going to be about, but hey, I'm sure they're going to be just fine. But one thing we did get today is we did see a team break 100 points in just 2 weeks, which is still very impressive, Neptura. That is going to be team in Hyper, right? Getting a win and doing so with some subs.
Yes, yeah, indeed. And it's you really looked like they had a really good some good tryouts coming in there. There's the sentence coming in. Yeah, it looked like they had some really good tryouts. They really worked very well together, and they had, a little bit of a rough start. It wasn't as, bombshell as it was last week, but hey, it was a good consistent day, still keeping above the rest of the teams no matter what they're doing, getting those 100 points. It did a really good job today.
They did. I think they did a great job. Wasn't as good as week 1? No. They won 3 games in a row, but Hyper still tore it up today without question. We look at some of the replays, Power Bang, and there's going to be a moment, I'm sure, where we are going to see that hill fight, that hilltop fight. And I loved watching that, and it was such a big power battle with YKG, trying to take control.
Absolutely. That power battle is just a couple letters off from Power Bang. I just wanted to note that really quickly for the record. Really interesting game so far. I got to tip my cap, though, to Joey as well. Really impressive performance from him. He came out and absolutely dominated this lobby as long as he possibly could. Put up over 1,000 damage himself, and the majority of it came during this fight right here against Intense Game. They pushed up, just completely mowing down the competition. And this was impressive given who it was against. Intense Game to that point had really played with this lobby like they were pub stomping. So really impressive stuff there from YKG. That's got to serve them well in the overall standings.
Yeah, because the question is, right, Enigma? I mean, that's YKG, that's Intense Game. If Intense Game wins that, they have just as much success as YKG had in the game number 4, right? So that battle truly was the battle of the Titans.
Oh, for sure.
What was that?
If we're needing the points, like YKG, if they didn't have this pop-up game, they were essentially rocking only 10 or 20 points on the whole day. So, it's really nice seeing them being able to actually perform and show up, especially Joey, can't say it enough. 8 kills, a few kills in the Vikendi match as well. So it's just really just, 1 game, 1 or 2 game difference. Let's say this was the finals portion of the tournament. You're going to be kicking yourself having a fight like that go down and losing it.
Jaguar may not have had the strongest finish when it comes to game 4, but they were still around. Coming into the final game, they were in 2nd place. I question, would they be able to hold on to it? I don't think they were able to, and the reason why is because Aton Esports tore it up. They did very well. They placed 2nd. They were my prediction to win game 4, and they narrowly missed that mark, Neptura. But hey, they were still there towards the very end. Aton Esports, in my opinion, a very solid day for them.
Oh yeah, it's been a great day for them today. They've had a couple of top 3s, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, in the first Erangel and then the second Erangel. So yeah, some really decent, consistent points coming through for them. That's going to keep them in that top 5. The top 8's where you want to be. So they're very comfortable going into week 3. Yeah, great job.
Looking at our rankings, though, for the game itself, we do see Hyper taking that final game, 24 points. That's nice, right? Big sheesh coming out because, hey, like I said, that puts him above that 100-point mark. We got Aton, who managed to take second. And excuse me, Black Mamba, not in my conversation, but should have been the entire time. They started off power bang on Erangel, right, with the victory. They finish in third place, so clearly showing consistency on this map.
Yeah, I feel like Black Mamba, both times today, first circle, I don't want to take anything away from them, but I feel like they got to the zone early and just held the only compound there was. It is what it is. We got the bottom of the standings here as well for this these match rankings. Couple notable teams down there for sure. Execute not putting up any points at all.
Right.
Loops still trying to build some momentum. And Intense Game coming up with a goose egg as well, despite having probably the best position on the map. So let's check out the overall standings as well. Taylor, oh my gosh, look at the gap.
Yeah. I know. That gap grows, doesn't it? I mean, it was 90 to 45 at one point. It actually has lessened a little bit. Let me recorrect that. But Hyper still leading. 118 points. They managed to break 100 points. That is a big deal, at least as far as I'm concerned. But another thing to take note of is Aton Esports goes from, I believe, 5th place at the start of the day, now all the way up to 2nd place. Jaguar in 3rd. So a lot of moving pieces, but Enigma still, though, impressive. Just off of one game, basically, Intense Game jumps up from last place to 5th, right? They didn't play last week, so one game basically puts them in 5th place, top 5. That's awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, if we're looking at their overall performance, it's just, a little bit of lackluster plays in a lot of the maps. But, that one pop-off game, they're pulling out a lot of those kills. If we're comparing them to Black Mamba, the first game they had won it out, but that last match, they get the placement, but they're sitting, with only 6 points. They didn't get virtually any sort of kill participation going on whatsoever. And you start to kind of start to question, what kind of points are they going to be able to get later on? We're really needing this to be in like an emphasis almost for this team, because if you're able to get the positioning, you need to also get the kills with it. It's not just about getting that placement anymore. And I mean, a lot of these teams, we're seeing now, it's just they're not able to perform.
Well, it goes back to what Neptur was saying, and it's right in line, Enigma, with what you were saying as well. Teams win not based off of their end game, but how they started to game, right? If you start strong, you will finish strong. And Neptur, that was well said before, and I think a lot of teams exemplified that as we take a look at our match results. We had 4 wonderful maps go down, and we saw a unique winner on each and every one, but I'm seeing some familiar faces up there consistently. Jaguar, Hyper, Aton, right? So, and even Black Mamba, right, joining into the mix. So the usual suspects were definitely tearing it up today, at least 3 of them.
Pretty incredible when you compare to the Intense Game like anomaly of that second game, right? They went nuts, put up a ton of points. But what I always like to do when a team misses kind of a set of games, and you're trying to figure out like, well, if they would have been here, would they have done enough? I look at the comparison between Intense Game and Hyper, right? If Intense Game doubled their points and basically did what they did today, if they did that one more day, they would have 96 points overall, which still puts them 22 points shy of Hyper's total of 118. Gives you some perspective on how strong Hyper has been as a crew over the past 2 weeks. Definitely look for that to continue, but Hyper impressive again once again today. Kind of quiet, but in the last game really went to town.
Went to town indeed. Look, hey, I'm Dylan. I'm going to be honest with you, boys. I'm dealing with my camera died out, and it is what it is.
Oh, rip.
All right, no one wants to see this anyways.
No.
This is my punishment. This is my punishment for talking about God and talking about my middle name. Stop. Come on. Why production always got to bully me, Power Bang? Huh? Why they always got to bully me?
I don't know,
Why
man.
you never stick up for me?
You were starting to talk about it. I was going to stand up for you and say, hey, it happens to the best of us, my friend, but I don't know. It'll probably be me next. Who knows? But anyways, it was a great point you were about to make. I don't know what it was, but it was some good stuff. So I will say, though, Hyper, incredible today. Intense Game showed a glimpse of what they are capable of. And I am so excited. Next week, we need to freaking see if they can bring it back and crush it for the remainder of these qualifiers. Because if anything, I fully expect I'm going to make this call right now. Intense Game finishes number 2 overall in the lobby. I don't know if that's crazy to say, Enigma. I'll throw it to you. What do you think? Do you think that's possible? Do you think I'm nuts? I'll throw it to you for your feedback.
Well, you know, a broke clock's always right twice a day, but I mean, with that sort of thing, I'm really feeling Aton today. You know, they didn't really have that pop off of a game, but they're really starting to show that consistency show through. And I mean, comparing it to teams like Black Mama and stuff like that, where they were consistent on the day, Aton's able to get that kill participation going a lot more than most of these teams.
It's a good pick. I can't fault it at all. And I will say, you know, first game of the day, only 3 players that they brought to the battlegrounds. Yeah. They were missing one, and they still got second place. So Aton cooking on a bit of momentum right here. Taylor, are you back? Are we locked in?
Seems so.
Take us home, baby. Take us home.
Hey, I just want to point out, by the way, you can tell by the way my face glistens, okay? It's hot in this room, and the camera said enough is enough, all right? You've been live for like 10 hours today. Just go to bed. And I think that's what I'm about to do as my cat eats the chicken off my plate just off to my right. Today was a wonderful day, and I absolutely loved each and every one of you and all the matches as it was. And Powerbang, let's pass it to you first. What are your final words before we get out of here?
Final words, action, baby. No game today disappointed for me. They got into it early and often. We saw some great standout performances. We saw them on an individual level. We also saw them at a team level. Big shout outs to the 2 from Hyper, Kindness, and GK First, number 1 and 2 overall in elims for the entire lobby. Those are my final thoughts. We'll see if Hyper can back it up next week or if Intense Game is going to become the dominant player in the lobby.
That's it. Intense Game. How well will they do next week? We'll find out, I'm sure. Enigma, back-to-back weeks. Great working with you. What are your final words before we get out of here?
One word, and it's just grenades, because we had seen some people hit some absolute Kobe's, and Hot Jukes and I went absolute ballistic over that 24K nade. The YKG player nading loops, just little drop and roll action almost. He ran up the stairs and looped. He doesn't even know what happened. He's like, did this guy just run by me? Gets naded instantly. Just, you don't see that every day. And that's what makes this game great.
That's right. And 4,000 damage, 30-plus points in one game. You don't see that every day either. I think it was some first for a lot of teams at a lot of moments today. Neptura, always great to get your analysis. You were dropping some heavy-hitting facts today. Always great to work with you. What are your final words before we get out of here?
Honestly, I think today we saw some of the best games that we've seen in all of the seasons so far on Titan Series, particularly Game 2. That was probably by far my favorite game. Maybe the Sandhawk with Nate fight. Maybe that one maybe tops it as favorite, but, you know, definitely best game, I think, coming in so far. So I'm super to see what Intense Game have coming up for week 3, because this is where it all comes down to. We got those final 4 matches, and I'm going very laggy, I can tell, but final 4 matches coming in, and we are good to go, so I'm super excited.
Yeah, you have great power. So whenever your power gets too great, the internet says, look, we got to tone it down a little bit. It's always wonderful having you here each and every week. Thank you so much, everybody out there. Make sure you hit that sub button and, hey, join us again, because Titan Series will continue to roll on and on. This was only week number 2. We got week 3 coming up next week. Same day, same time. All right, so be here Thursday, 7 o'clock Eastern time, because we'd absolutely love to have you. But for myself, Taylor Reflections, Noble, our casting crew, our production, and you in chat, thank you so much for being here. Be back, like I said, next week, Thursday, 7 Eastern time. It's going to be a lot of fun.